All right, good morning, everyone. The court will call State of Wisconsin versus Darrell Brooks. You may have the appearances, please.
Good morning, Judge. Leslie Basie and Zach Witchow appearing for the State of Wisconsin.
Sir, please state your name for the record.
Just 1 second. Make sure I have everything since they was kind of late today. I'm here as a third-party intervener in that matter and do not consent to being called that name for the record.
The record will also reflect that the individual known to this court as Darrell Brooks is present in person in custody.
And don't consent to being called that name.
I understand, sir. All right, I do want to put on the record I gave the parties this morning. It's an excerpt from a judicial bench book on opening statement. I thought it would be helpful to provide to Mr. Brooks. It talks about the manner and purpose, scope, and other things so that the jury can better understand and evaluate evidence. It must also be based on the law and the evidence you believe is properly admissible. I'm going to further advise you at the time when you do make your opening statement that it not reference subject matter jurisdiction. That is, despite what I know you believe to be to the contrary, it is not a requirement to be proven in this case. It is not a factual or legal argument that is accurate, and therefore I'm prohibiting you from referencing that during either opening statements or closing arguments.
For the record, is this the what you're referring to? This okay? I accept for value in return for value these documents. I don't know why the reference to subject matter jurisdiction in the opening statement. I'm pretty aware that that wouldn't be part of an opening or closing statement. I don't get why that's
I wanted
relevant.
to make the record clear. I appreciate you indicating to me that you're aware of that.
Even though subject matter jurisdiction has not been proven on the record and should be addressed.
It does not need to be proven on the record. It's established by law and by the fact that, as my written decision indicates, commenced when the criminal complaint was filed in this case. It's conferred by Constitution and by statute.
And who was the complaint filed by? The subject matter jurisdiction has yet to be proven on the record.
I'm not going to go down this path today. I'm just advising you cannot reference that in your opening statement.
That was something I've already had the common sense to know, but also subject matter jurisdiction has not been proven for the record.
Next topic. I believe the state has
Should
filed
be proven
a
for the
motion.
record by the prosecution.
Objection is noted. It is not legally sound. It's overruled.
It's definitely legally sound.
All right.
Has yet to be
Attorney
proven.
I'm going to turn to Attorney Opper. I believe they filed a motion.
It was served on Mr. Brooks last night in the jail, Your Honor.
I didn't look at the document. I accept for value, return for value the document. I didn't look at it, so I don't know what I'm supposed to say to that.
Your Honor, we are moving to amend the information with respect to one word in the entire document. We're not asking to change any criminal charges. We're not asking to change any dates. I don't think that there's any grounds for a claim of prejudice by this change.
Any position on that, sir?
Yes. First of all, for the record, there were originally 2 charges associated with this one party, and these charges have been charged for the better part of a year. I feel that if there was essentially one word that needed to be changed, it's been more than ample time for it to be changed. Even after one of the charges was dismissed, that topic could have been visited at that time for it to change. I don't think changing one word at this point really has any bearing on the testimony or the actual charge. I don't understand why a motion needs to be heard about one word. Is kind of at this point kind of a moot point. It's been charged like this for a year basically. The language hasn't ever been referenced to being changed before yesterday. So what is the significance of this now at this point?
Thank you, sir. As far as whether this is a moot issue or not, I'll find that it is ripe for determination by this court. Does not change the charge in any way. It is still the same offense, still from the same general information that was indicated in the criminal complaint. So for all of those reasons, I will grant the state's request to amend the information.
I have a question about that. This same person is scheduled to testify again. What if something changes in the testimony?
I'm not going to answer that, sir. It would require me to speculate on what that situation might be and to give an advisory opinion, which I will not do.
Well, what happens if that happens?
I'm not going to answer that, sir. I can't. You're asking me to give an advisory decision. I'm not going to do that. I'm not allowed to do that, actually. Okay, so we dealt with that then.
Makes no sense.
We'll Will the state anticipate calling any other witnesses?
We do intend to recall Detective Casey.
There will not be duplication or repetitive questions.
Any position from you, sir?
And yes, I do. And I'm going to start with what was just said. The prosecution feels that they've been efficient in their presentation. So it seems like to me an attempt to get more questions in that could have been asked in the first place. If Your Honor recalls, Detective Casey was testifying for quite some time, to the point that we actually had to have a break before I can cross-examine Detective Casey, if you recall. He was up there quite some time. That was more than enough time for any other foundations to be laid, any questions to be asked at that time. And also, from my recollection, he was asked to be excused. Essentially having him start off and then end it, I feel like is an attempt to get questions that was maybe forgotten to be asked, answered, and essentially what more could be gained by second testimony from Detective Casey? What more could be gained that hasn't already been learned? We learned about vehicles and identification by numerous witnesses. We've been through the inspection of the vehicle. We've been through DNA analysis of the vehicle. We've been through numerous things in regards to the vehicle. Even the reconstruction testimony. We've been through all of that. Seems like nothing more than to get extra questions answered that could have been asked from the get-go. As seeing as how he was up there for quite some time and none of those issues were raised at that time. What would be the significance at this point when it's essentially I should be already presenting my defense at this point in trial? I don't see the relevancy of it, and to my knowledge he was excused from his subpoena. So
Thank you,
what's
sir.
the relevancy?
Thank you, sir. I am going to allow Detective Casey to be recalled. Any other preliminary issues then from the state? Anything preliminary from you, sir?
Yeah, just a quick question about that last thing again. I will be able to re-cross-examine.
Oh, yes, you will.
Is essentially anything left off limits to my cross, or because I'm not intending to go too much back into the previous testimony, but I think it made a few points from the earlier testimony may come into play, and I just wanted to make sure
I think that's fair.
that wouldn't be a problem. Also, really quick, I did look over some information provided by the prosecution as far as a pretrial offer that I did not have knowledge of until, I don't know if that was today, Thursday? I don't know if that was Monday or Friday or Monday, one of those days. I've put together, started to, I won't say it's completed, that wouldn't be fair to say. I've put together, or started to put together a counter offer, so I just wanted to advise the court that I was putting that together.
All right, anything else? Attorney Opera, you may call your next witness.
The state would recall Detective Tom Casey.
And we've had testimony about this exhibit throughout the trial. Is that right, sir?
Yes, we have.
All right. Your role in this case was what, sir?
Objection leading.
And I would like you to talk a little bit about how victims were identified in this case.
Objection leading.
So, at least initially, can you tell us, like, in the day or two after the parade, what happened?
Objection leading.
At the beginning, we began by having detectives assigned to each hospital. As the patients came in, they were identified by detectives.
What if the individual was a person under the age of 18?
Objection leading.
And do you believe that the names on Exhibit 15 truly reflect all the injured victims that you were able to identify in the course of this investigation, sir?
Objection speculative.
No, I do not.
Can you explain that?
Objection leading.
Just because of the scope of the investigation, we had so many people that were hurt, we had to come up with some kind of parameters to limit the people that we would call victims. One of those parameters is that they had to receive treatment at a hospital. Another one is that they had to be in the street when their injuries occurred. So there are some people that were injured, maybe on the sidewalk, trampled by the crowd, or received injuries that they didn't get hospital care from.
So you mentioned people on the sidewalk. We did have some spectators testify in the trial, correct?
Objection leading.
When you were leading this investigation, trying to identify victims, what was the importance of the SUV in the injuries that were caused?
Objection leading.
If a person were injured because they were trampled by the crowd, are they on this map?
We exclude those.
Speculative.
Those people were excluded from the map.
There were some people like that, right?
Yes, there
Objection
were.
leading.
Okay. I'd like to put up for you exhibit number 32, which has been previously identified. Detective Casey, I want to focus your attention specifically as to the extreme dance team. We heard testimony about several of the girls on the team being struck and injured. Do you remember that testimony, sir?
Yes, I do.
leading.
Do you know if there were other people associated with the extreme dance team that were injured?
Objection speculative.
Yes, I do.
And do you know the names of these people?
Objection hearsay.
Yes, I do.
What were their names, please?
Kathleen Pallmeyer.
Speculation.
Overruled.
What was their role with the dance team? Do I have permission to proceed?
Which exhibit?
This is 32.
Oh, yes. If we get to a new one that hasn't previously been received, then I
Yes.
will
Okay.
pause to
All
get
right.
the tech people in.
All right. And
Go ahead.
Objection
Bailiff.
to relevancy.
All right, please play. 35-second mark to 47 seconds.
How long is the exhibit?
Looks like it's a minute 23 according to what I can see on my monitor.
And please pause. Do you see any of the individuals you were just testifying about enter the screen, sir?
Objection speculative.
Yes, I do.
Could you identify them by using the touch screen?
Objection leading.
A little hard to see right now, but as
Yeah,
they,
it's very hard to see.
please clear the screen and continue playing. And pause. I'm sorry, because I can't see the counter, Your Honor.
It is at 44 seconds.
44 seconds. Do you see anybody else that you just testified to in the video at this point, sir?
Objection speculation.
Yes, I do.
And who is that?
Leading.
Mitchell.
Objection.
Please circle Mitchell. Do you know Mitchell's approximate age?
Objection speculative.
This video goes on to show the red SUV drive through the extreme dance team, correct?
Objection leading.
To your knowledge of this video, sir, did those individuals, Mitchell and Ms. Stover and Ms. Pellmeyer, remain along the left side of the road there as the SUV went through?
Objection leading.
They were hit by the vehicle and then moved to the left.
What exhibit is this one?
This is 55.
Objection to the relevancy of 55.
Exhibit 55, can you see at the end of the road there, or the top of the screen, what unit is involved in Exhibit 55?
Yes.
Please tell us.
Objection leading.
One of the dancers we have heard testimony that was involved with Granny's was a woman by the name of Lola Hospital. Is that correct?
Objection leading.
Is there video showing Miss Hospital being struck by the SUV?
Objection leading.
You've seen Exhibit 55 before?
Yes, I have.
Are you able to identify Miss Hospital, Lola Hospital in Exhibit 55?
Objection leading.
Please describe for the jury what you just saw in the video, sir.
Objection leading.
I saw the red SUV driving westbound on Main Street, approaching the dancing grannies, hitting Lola Hospital, and then striking two other dancing grannies.
When you say hitting Lola Hospital, what did you see?
Objection leading.
Did Miss Hospital report any injuries to the Waukesha Police Department?
Objection leading.
I'd like to now ask that Exhibit 118 be published for the jury.
Objection to the relevancy of 118.
Sir, do you recognize the item shown in Exhibit 118?
Yes, I do.
In addition to the photograph, have you had an opportunity to examine that item or items?
Objection leading.
Mr. Johnson from the Crime Lab testified about these items yesterday, but I'd like you to tell the jury what you remember of these items, please.
Objection leading. Forming the first part of the question.
This is the red SUV that was used in the parade attack. This is a picture of it taken after. I remember a hood from a white jacket and a hat, a black hat with snowflakes on it, being pressed in between the hood and the windshield wiper of the vehicle.
Objection to it being called an attack. I think that's a disparaging remark for the record.
Your objection is noted, and the answer will stand.
When you saw these items on the hood of the red SUV, did you later come to recognize where they may have come from?
Objection leading.
I'd like to display to the witness only, please, Exhibit 177. This has not yet been received, Your Honor. What do you see in Exhibit 177?
Objection leading.
Overruled.
I see two dancing grannies.
Move to admit 177 and permission to publish, Your Honor.
Objection to the relevancy.
The objection is overruled. Exhibit 177 is received. Permission to publish is granted.
Said 177?
177, yes.
Just so we're clear on the record, please circle Virginia Sorensen in the hat in this picture.
Objection leading.
Overruled.
There were many videos that have been shown to this jury, correct?
Objection leading.
To your knowledge, are there any videos that display the license plate of the red SUV as it goes along the parade route?
Objection, leading.
Is it possible to capture a screenshot from those videos to see the license plate of the red SUV along the parade route?
Yes, there are.
I'd like to display for the witness only, Exhibit 150. Do you see Exhibit 150?
Yes, I do.
Please describe what you see in Exhibit 150.
Objection, leading.
In that photo, you can read the license plate number.
Do you believe this photo is a true and accurate representation of the events of the day?
Yes, I do.
Move to omit 150 and permission to publish.
Objection. How does this go to investigation exhibits?
Overruled.
On investigation.
The image is a little blurry, correct?
A tad.
Can you please point out the license plates in the photo and read it for the jury?
Is it okay if I circle it?
Yes.
Overruled. You may do so.
Now I'd like to show to the witness only number 151, please. Please describe 151. Move to admit 151 and permission to publish, Your Honor.
Objection to relevancy. I recall the state saying they had 140 exhibits. How did we get this many?
Keep going, Attorney Upper.
Please circle the license plate and read it for the jury.
Objection, leading.
ADP 9256.
During your investigation, did you uncover any other videos linking Mr. Brooks to this same vehicle with this same license plate?
Objection. I don't consent to being called their name and it's leading the witness.
Could you describe this video for us, please?
Objection, leading.
There's a video that we obtained from social media that shows Mr. Brooks standing next to the SUV, and you can clearly see the license plate number on the vehicle.
I'd like to display for the witness only Exhibit 175, please. Please identify 175.
This is
Objection. Relevancy.
This is a photo. There's two individuals in the photo. The individual on the left, I know to be the person referred to as Darrell Brooks. It displays the vehicle, a red Ford, and it has the license plate number, which is displayed in the photo.
What is the source of this photo?
Objection, leading.
We obtained it through social media.
This is a photo versus a video.
This is the photo taken from
Hold
a
on.
video.
I understand the objection. It's sustained. It's foundational. This particular question, the witness may answer. Go ahead.
This is
Overruled or sustained?
Overruled.
He said sustained.
What did I say?
Yes, you did.
Sorry. I meant it's overruled.
This is a screenshot taken from a video.
Move to admit 175 and permission to publish, Your Honor.
Objection to that. What's the relevancy? I don't see the alleged defendant in here.
All right, go ahead.
Detective Casey, is person you know as Darrell Brooks in this photograph?
Objection. I don't consent to being called their name and leading the witness.
Please circle or X or mark in some fashion. How do you know that's Darrell Brooks there? His back is to us.
Objection, leading.
I've watched the video in its entirety.
Detective Casey, in total, how many videos do you think were collected by the Waukesha Police Department during this investigation?
Objection, speculative.
Probably 300 to 400 videos.
Were all of the videos that were available shown to this jury?
No, we're not.
Objection, leading.
Have you personally observed and reviewed each of the video files available in this case, sir?
Objection, speculative.
Overruled. You may answer.
Yes, I have.
To your knowledge, sir, did any video ever show a different person behind the driver's wheel of that red SUV?
Objection, leading.
Any of the videos were you ever able to see multiple people inside the vehicle?
Objection, speculative.
None of the videos that we have looked at showed anyone else in the vehicle.
Any of the videos at any point show the red SUV coming to a stop, a complete stop along the parade route?
Objection, leading and speculative.
Do any of the videos show the driver of the vehicle exit the vehicle to check on a person who had just been struck by the vehicle?
Objection, leading.
There was testimony earlier in this case about witnesses observing multiple people running from the car. Do you remember that?
Objection, leading.
When the vehicle was found on Maple Street, you weren't there.
Objection, leading.
Do you know what police activity occurred when the vehicle was found on Maple?
Objection, speculative. He just stated he wasn't there.
Please tell the jury what happened when the SUV was found on Maple.
Objection, leading.
Initially, Officer Moss went, he secured the vehicle, did not find anybody in the vehicle. There was an initial report that saw some other people running from the area of the vehicle.
After that investigation, did you have other suspects or just one person?
Objection, leading.
Based on the information of what everybody saw on the parade route, and then the detectives that went back down to Maple Avenue where it interviewed the people that reported the people running, our investigation determined that there was only one person in the vehicle and there was no other suspects that we were looking for.
At some point in your investigation, Detective Casey, were you given a Ford key?
Objection, leading.
What was your understanding as to the source of that key?
My understanding that that key was taken from Mr. Brooks when he was taken into custody and turned over to Detective Stern and Detective Carpenter.
Objection, I don't consent to being called that name for the record.
Noted, overruled.
How did you get it?
Objection, leading.
Overruled, the witness may answer.
You just stated how you got it.
Did you do anything with the key?
Yes, I did.
Tell the jury what you did, please.
Objection, leading.
The vehicle was at the Waukesha County Sheriff's Department Secure Storage Facility. I went there and I took the key with me and I checked the vehicle to see if the key would work in the car.
What did you find?
Objection, leading.
I found that the key worked the door lock. I also put the key in the ignition and it turned the ignition lock.
Detective Casey, you've heard testimony about the manner in which the defendant was identified by the name of Darrell Brooks. Do you recall that testimony, sir?
Objection, I don't consent to being called that name. Misleading the witness.
Yes, I do.
Did you endeavor to verify the identification of the subject you had arrested for this incident?
Objection, leading.
Did you verify his identity by the name of Darrell Brooks?
Objection, I don't consent to being called that name. Leading.
Yes, I have.
How did you do that?
Objection, leading.
I'd like to put on the screen for the witness only Exhibit 88.
Go ahead.
Do you see Exhibit 88, sir?
Yes, I do.
Objection to this was the relevancy.
Overruled. Go
Can you-
ahead.
Grounds for the overrule.
Relevant
In what way is it relevant?
to the counts alleged in this case.
Can you please identify Exhibit 88?
This is a bail bond through Milwaukee County Circuit Court for Darrell Edward Brooks.
To your knowledge, was Mr. Brooks on bail through a Milwaukee County case on the date of November 21, 2021?
Objection, leading.
What is the date of this bail form, please? I believe it's near the bottom.
The date on the bottom
Objection,
is
leading.
Overruled, the witness may answer.
By classification, can you tell us the level of charges that Mr. Brooks was pending on for this bail?
Objection. You've already made a ruling on it.
To your knowledge, was this bail in full force and effect on November 21 of 2021, sir?
Objection.
Overruled.
And in the middle of the form, do you see the conditions of bail that were set upon Mr. Brooks?
Objection, leading.
Paragraph B, the third bullet, do you see that?
yes, I do.
Could you please read that bail condition to the jury?
Objection, leading.
Defendant shall not commit any crime.
Thank you. Move to admit number 88, Your Honor.
Objection.
Exhibit 88 is received.
I'd like to display for
We've
the...
already speculated to. How's that coming into evidence?
Overruled and permission to publish.
I'm sorry, I did not seek to publish this, Your
Oh,
Honor.
all right, turn that
I
off.
request a legal finding of fact for that.
The objection is noted. It's overruled. Continue. Attorney Opper.
Thank you. I'd like to display for the witness only Exhibit 89.
Go ahead.
Sir, can you please identify 89?
Objection.
Overruled.
Relevancy.
Overruled.
This is a
This has been speculated, stipulated to as well. How's it evidence? How's it being admitted?
The objection's noted. It's overruled. The witness may answer.
I request a legal finding of fact for that too, Your Honor.
Noted. Overruled.
This is a bail bond through Milwaukee County Circuit Court.
Is this a different case than what was displayed in Exhibit 88?
Objection, leading.
Are you able to make any observations about the level of charges related to this case, sir?
Objection, leading.
4 charges, 2 of which are felonies.
And on the bottom of the form, can you tell the date that this bail was issued?
Objection, leading.
Directing your attention again to that same location in the middle of the page under paragraph B, the third bullet. Could you please read the conditions of release that were set by the court in that case?
Objection leading.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
Defendant shall not commit any crime.
To your knowledge, sir, was this bail in full force and effect on November 21 of 21?
Objection speculative and leading.
Overruled as to both. The witness may answer.
Yes, it was.
Finally, sir, I'd like to put up one last item for you, or two items. I'd like to display for the witness only Exhibit 13.
Objection. What's the relevancy of this? How does it say any foundation to testimony?
Can you tell if Exhibit 13 is a video, sir?
Yes, it is.
Have you seen this video before, sir?
Objection leading.
Overruled.
Still relevancy. Where's the relevancy?
The state is asking the foundational questions. The objection's a bit premature. I'll take it under advisement. Go ahead, Attorney Opper.
What does this video depict?
Objection leading.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
Objection speculative.
Overruled.
This video depicts the backyard. That's the address of Dawn Woods, the mother of Darrell Brooks. And on the lower left-hand corner, you can see a Ford Escape.
In the lower
Objection.
right.
I move to strike that. How does he know what?
The objection's noted. Overruled. You can ask him on cross-examination. You can question him about that.
Bottom right-hand corner of the exhibit, do you see a date and time stamp for this video, sir?
Objection leading.
Overruled.
Yes, I do. It says 11/21-2021.
What do those numbers represent, sir?
Objection leading.
Overruled.
Do you believe this video is a true and accurate representation of the events of that afternoon at that location, sir?
Objection speculative.
Sustained. If you could lay a little more foundation.
Sure.
please.
How did you come into possession of this video, sir?
The defendant's mother provided it to us.
Do you know approximately when it was obtained?
Objection speculative.
Do you know if the defendant's mother was cooperative with police in providing the video?
Objection relevancy.
Overruled.
Yes, she was.
Do you know if the video was provided to police when asked?
Objection leading.
Yes, it was.
Move to admit 13, Your Honor, and permission to publish.
Objection. Where's the relevancy?
For the record, this is a video. We're going to play it in full. There is no audio, and it will be played at normal speed. Did you see any damage to the front end of that vehicle as it drove away?
Objection leading.
Overruled.
I did not.
Okay, I'm going to put up State's Exhibit 14 now, please. Do you recognize Exhibit 14?
Yes, I do. This is a still shot taken from the video.
Move to admit 14 and permission to publish, Your Honor.
Objection relevancy.
Sir, do you see Darrell Brooks in this photograph?
Objection. I don't consent to being called that name again for the record.
Noted. Overruled.
Can you describe clothing items that you see him wearing in this photograph? Oh, it's not in the jury box yet. I'm sorry.
You can state your objection, though.
Leading.
Overruled.
What's the date and time stamp for this photograph, please?
It's 11/21/2021 at 13:26:08 hours.
And that's what time, sir?
Objection leading.
On the 12-hour clock.
Objection leading.
Overruled.
All right, thank you. Have any other questions, sir?
Let me cross.
In the two exhibits we just watched, 13 and 14, do you see anyone driving the vehicle? Do you know if anyone's in the vehicle at the time that you see it pull away?
In order to move a vehicle, you have to manipulate the controls, the shifter, the brake, the accelerator. So my assumption is that someone is inside the vehicle doing that.
That wasn't the question. Do you see anyone in the vehicle?
I object, Your Honor. That was the question, and he's already asked and answered. The question is, anyone can be seen.
I'm not sure what the objection was, but the answer may stand. You can ask your next question.
Let's go back to Exhibit 175. Can you pull that up for the witness?
Witness only or published?
Publish.
It's in the jury
You
box.
just testified that this was the alleged defendant. How do you know that? Can you see a face?
Which question are you asking? Those were two.
Can you see the face on the circled individual in that exhibit?
In this clip, I cannot see the face of the person that is searched.
So how do you know who it is?
I can tell who that is because I have watched this video in its entirety, and I can tell that it is you based on all of my contacts with you.
So why were there not any other exhibits that can give credibility to you positively identifying the individual in this video?
Objection argumentative,
Grounds.
compound.
Sustained.
Is it fair to say that this is the only exhibit photo from the video?
Can you clarify the only one that is shown today, or the only one that has ever been taken?
The only one that's
ever
the only
exists?
one that's
Could you clarify,
being
please?
shown right here today. Is this the only one that is an exhibit being shown here today?
Yes, this is the only one that we've shown today.
And you can tell just from this exhibit exactly who that individual is.
I don't believe that was my testimony.
I'm asking the question.
From just looking at this, no. But I know from looking at the entire video that it's you.
We're talking about this exhibit that's being shown right now during your testimony right now at this moment. Strictly that.
Could you ask your question, please?
I'm going to object, asked and answered.
Sustained is to the form of the question.
Would it be fair to say that from this exhibit 175 that they're looking at right now that you cannot tell who the circle individual is? Would that be fair to say?
That would be fair to say.
And do you recall what date you viewed this video, as you call it?
I have viewed this video multiple times.
Was it relatively early on in the investigation?
Some of them early, some of them as late as yesterday.
Do you recall seeing this video the same night of the incident or in the days following? And at that time, did you have knowledge of who that vehicle belonged to? And did you have knowledge of the usage of that video? The usage of that vehicle?
I'm not sure that I understand the question.
Did you have knowledge of who may have been using the vehicle
Objection vague as to time.
at the time of the incident?
Yes,
And what information was that?
that you, Darrell Brooks, were the person that were operating the vehicle.
And who did you learn that from? And for the record, I don't consent to that name.
Noted,
For the record.
overruled.
Can you repeat your question?
I'm gonna go another route on this.
You done with the exhibit, sir?
No, I'm not.
So you're withdrawing your question?
Yeah, I'm going another route. You just testified to seeing the entire video that this steel frame exhibit came from, correct?
Correct.
You said that you viewed the video in its entirety, correct?
I'm not sure if there is a longer version someplace, but
Did you see the video in its entirety? The video that this exhibit came from?
yes,
And are these the only two individuals that you observed in that video?
they are the only two that I recall seeing in the video.
Did you ever inquire about the identity of this individual?
No, I have not.
Would it be fair to say that from looking strictly at the exhibit that we're viewing right now, both individuals have the same hairstyle?
It would be fair to say.
We go back to exhibit 13. Just play it. I'll tell you when to pause if that's okay.
Okay, go ahead. Thank you. Just as a reminder, it's 49 seconds long.
I don't think I'm gonna need the. Well, I don't know. I might pause. Right there, the individual that you observe right here. Do you see them wearing a hoodie?
The person in that photo is not wearing a hoodie.
Do you see a hoodie anywhere present in this video?
No, I don't see a video or a hoodie anywhere in the video.
From this angle, it'd be fair to say that you can see the very front end of a vehicle, correct?
That is correct.
Can you see any windows or see inside the vehicle at that time? Or at the time that we're looking at right now?
You cannot see inside the vehicle at this time.
So it would be fair to say that just by looking at what we're looking at now, you wouldn't know if anyone's already inside the vehicle.
That is correct. From this video, you cannot tell if anyone else is inside the vehicle.
So it'd be fair to say that you're not sure.
Fair to say that I am not sure.
If you pull this down. Whoa, wait. I'm sorry. Can you pull that back up for 1 second?
Same exhibit.
Same
Go
exhibit,
ahead.
13. No, we don't need it played.
All right, do you know what point?
I'm about to it right now. Looking at this house right here, do you see an address posted anywhere on this house? So it'd be fair to say that you don't know the address of this house.
That is incorrect.
You just said that you don't see an address posted anywhere in this house. So from the vehicle, strike that, not the vehicle. I'm still looking in the corner right here. From the video that we're viewing right now, do you see an address posted anywhere on this house?
I do not see an address posted in this photo.
So judging by this, well, actually it's a video, but judging by this video, how can you know the address of this house?
Because I've been at this house before to talk with your mother. I've seen the address on the front of the house.
Judging by this video.
Hold on, you have to let him finish because that was not the question you asked. You asked him how he knew. He can answer.
I have been at this address before. I have spoken to your mother. I have been in the backyard of the residence. I've seen the address on the front of the house. I know this to be your mother's house. I recognize from this photo to be your mother's address at 4014 North 19th Street.
You recognize the house or the address? Because we don't see an address in this video.
I recognize this house to be that address from being there.
And had you already been there, as you say, and talked to people, as you say, before you viewed this video?
I believe that I saw the video first.
So at the time that you saw this video, you didn't know whose house that was?
That would be an incorrect statement.
You just said that you saw the video first before going to the house. Did you or did you not say that? Would that be fair to say?
I guess I'm a little confused in your question. We received the video. We know from getting it from my mother that she said that that is where she lives. That was clarified for you.
I follow you, but that clarification wasn't stated before. So that's fair from the clarification of how you just clarified it. You made reference to the key being found. Did you yourself find that key? Were you at the scene where the key was found at the time it was found?
No, I was not.
So it'd be fair to say that you were told that a key was found?
Yes, I was told that a key was found.
So it'd be fair to say that you went off of what you were told. You actually didn't observe this with your own eyes.
What are you speaking of?
The key being found.
I was told by two officers who I've worked with for a long time, and I trust what they tell me to be accurate.
You made reference to there being a couple, was the word you used, a couple ways to identify individuals, and you stated that you had spoken with the mothers of the alleged defendant's children. That'd be fair to say? At that time, was the alleged defendant already in custody?
Yes, he was.
Wouldn't it have been easier to just use the fingerprints that were already obtained?
Like I said before, the fingerprints was one way.
Is it fair to say that there was more confirmation needed to identify the alleged defendant at that point, seeing as how the fingerprints were already obtained?
We were certain that it was Darrell Brooks that we had in custody.
It'd be fair to say fingerprints are pretty accurate, though, correct? Would that be fair to say?
I think that would be fair to say.
So it would also be fair to say that there wouldn't be any reason why the alleged defendant that was in custody would be someone else. Would that be fair to say?
Objection, that's compound and difficult to follow.
It's not compound. It's
Sustained
not
as to the
difficult
form
follow.
of the question, sir. Please
That was
rephrase.
very clear. Where did the interviewing of the mothers of these children take place, if you recall?
I spoke to Jessica Macklin in Iowa at her residence. I spoke to Angel Fitzpatrick at her residence in Menominee Falls.
Whoa. Can we strike that? Why do the names have to be stated?
Overruled.
You said one of the mothers of these children you spoke to in Iowa. Why would you go all the way to Iowa?
Initially, you listed her as a witness, wanted to verify what information she might have.
Just for the record, I don't recall listing anyone as a witness, just for the record.
Mr. Brooks, you can't testify.
I just wanted that clear for the record since what was
Can't be,
said.
it's struck from the record at this
I-
point because you're attempting to testify. The
Not
jury will
attempting to
disregard
testify.
that.
I just wanted the record to show
The
that
jury
I have no
will
knowledge of doing that. And if
The jury will disregard those statements made by the defendant
If
as
something's-
that he is not testifying, and it would be improper at this time for the court to receive them.
I don't think a
Go-
record should be
next
made
question,
of
sir.
something that I didn't do. It's ridiculous. So you said you went to Iowa to try to find out what would be testified to. Why?
Objection, argumentative,
Grounds.
irrelevant, and calls for hearsay.
Grounds.
Sustained as to all basis.
Was that an attempt to prepare for what might have been said?
Yes.
Why would there be preparation involved in someone who might testify on an alleged defendant's behalf?
Objection, argumentative.
Grounds.
Overruled, I'll allow it.
We went there to speak with her, so if she came and testified, there wouldn't be any surprises.
So you made reference to not being any surprises. Would it be fair to say that there was a little worry there?
Objection, argumentative.
Grounds.
Sustained as to the form of the question.
What surprises were you referring to? What do you mean by surprises? No surprises.
Your Honor, I object to this entire line of questioning. This witness is not expected to testify. It's wholly irrelevant.
Well, he opened the door by putting the name on the record and saying where you went.
I will allow one more question on this.
Could you re-ask the question, please?
What do you mean by making sure that there were no surprises?
We wanted to make sure that there wasn't any information that we weren't aware of.
Do you recall making an attempt to interview the child
Objection, relevance.
who was 7 at the time?
Sustained. Next question, please.
Reason for the sustain, Your Honor?
Not relevant.
Well, the question was asked, does he recall?
Sustained. Next question, please.
Grounds for the sustain again?
Relevant.
How is it not relevant?
Keep going, sir.
Did you interview the child?
Same objection.
Grounds.
Sustained.
Grounds for the sustain?
Relevant.
Why would you ask to interview the child?
Your Honor, objection. This
Sustained.
entire line of questioning is inappropriate.
I would
Mr. Brooks.
object that trying to interview a 7-year-old child just
Sir, move on, please. It's also not relevant. Assumes
Very
that's not
relevant.
an evidence.
it was a tricky move. You made reference to in regards to Exhibit 88 and 89, which were documents from an entirely different county. Do you work for Milwaukee County?
No, I do not.
So how did Milwaukee County, which is a different county, come into your investigation in Waukesha County?
You may answer with the understanding there are some limited pretrial rulings that still are in play.
During the normal,
I'm sorry for interrupting. I started off by saying in regards to Exhibit 88 and 89. That's how I started the question, just for the record.
I know. I'm reminding the witness of the pretrial rulings.
Okay.
during the normal course of an investigation, we do background on a person to see if they have any open cases.
And in reference to having charges in one county potentially being charged in another county, in reference to that, wouldn't you essentially have to violate the conditions in one county and strictly be charged in that county?
That is an inaccurate statement.
You being in law enforcement for a very long time, it would be fair to say that you're familiar with the term double jeopardy, right? And what is your understanding of what that term means?
Objection, irrelevant, beyond the
Grounds.
scope of the witness's knowledge.
So when did you become the lead investigator in this matter?
That was about 8:30 p.m. on November 21st, 2021.
So same night.
Correct.
Whom were you made lead investigator by? Do you recall why you were tapped to be the lead investigator?
Because I was the most qualified person and had the most experience to take care of it.
Any other reasons besides that?
Also because I was at the parade route a little bit earlier and I had the most information out of anyone.
And that would be in the information that you said you had more knowledge of than anyone else at that time. Would that be in reference to having an interaction with vehicle at some point?
I was there when the car first went through. I know what the radio traffic was. We're taking Mr. Brooks into custody. There's also some decisions that were made early on how to proceed with the case.
When you referenced you were there at the beginning when the vehicle first entered in the parade. What do you recall about when the vehicle first entered the parade?
I remember a horn beeping and then you driving into me and not stopping when I pounded on your hood and window.
Driving into you, what do you mean?
I meant that I was in front of your vehicle contacted me, pushed me off to the side, and continued driving without stopping.
Were you injured in this incident?
I was not injured, thankfully.
And you made reference to a horn beeping. What do you mean a horn beeping?
I mean
you
a horn-
the vehicle was beeping its horn?
Yes, the vehicle was beeping its horn.
What would be the only time a vehicle would beep their horn?
Objection, speculation.
Grounds.
Sustained.
Do you know why the vehicle was beeping their horn?
Same objection, Your Honor.
Do you know why you would beep
He
your
asked,
horn?
do you know why? So he can answer that question.
Could you repeat the question, please?
Do you know why the vehicle was beeping its horn?
I imagine that the driver was angry and wanted to get through the crowd.
And how did you come to that determination?
A lot of times people get angry, they're late, they beep their horn at you in a way that is because they're upset and they're trying to get past you.
Do you know that for sure?
You asked me my opinion.
Yes, I did ask your opinion. Now I'm asking you, do you know for sure if the driver of the vehicle you observed was in fact angry?
I assume that he was.
So it would be fair to say you don't know for sure.
That is my opinion.
At that time, you had no knowledge who the driver was. Would that be fair to say?
Well, I had knowledge because I saw your face. I did not know your name
Did
at
you
that
know
time.
who the driver was? No, meaning had you had any prior interactions with them before this incident? That's what I mean by no. Have you had any conversations with him, talked to him?
Hold
saw
on.
him?
Compound question. Ask one.
I was just giving clarification of no,
You
what I
need
meant
to-
by
it's
no.
a compound question.
Before you observed this vehicle, as you say, and this driver that, as you say, did you know them?
I have no memory of meeting Mr. Brooks before that afternoon.
So it would be fair to say that you're assuming something that you don't know. Would that be fair to say?
Objection, compound, vague, and argumentative.
Sustained.
Grounds. How would you know how someone's feeling if you don't know who they are?
Your Honor, he opened the door to this. It's asked and answered. The witness has given his opinion. It's clear.
Grounds.
I object. Improper question.
Grounds.
I will allow the witness to answer why he came to that conclusion.
I've been driving a long time, and a lot of times when people are beeping their horns, it's because they're late, they're angry at something that something happened, and that's why I concluded that the person was probably angry.
So would it be fair to say that another reason why a vehicle would beep its horn would be to alert people to the presence?
Objection.
Grounds?
Irrelevant speculation.
Grounds?
I'll allow it.
It's a possibility.
Did you hear this beeping before the vehicle approached you?
Yes, I did.
You made reference to, and I'm referring to the ring video obtained in exhibits 88, or I'm sorry, the ring video obtained in exhibits 13 and 14. You made reference to obtaining that the same night of the incident. Do you recall saying that? And it would be fair to say that you yourself have been present for all testimony. Would that be fair to say?
That is not correct.
How so?
I was sick one day and I was not here.
Well, I'm referring to, let me clarify. Maybe I wasn't clear enough. Pertaining to all testimony since trial began, you've been present for all testimony. Would that be fair to say?
I believe I've seen most of it.
Do you recall testimony of, and I'm referring to, again, so clear for the record, exhibits 13 and 14, ring footage that was obtained by the owner of 4014 North 19th Street, that you testified to obtaining the ring footage the same night? Were you aware that, well, let me back up just a little bit. How were you able to obtain that ring footage?
There was officers that went to Freighter Hospital where Dawn Woods, Mr. Brooks' mother, was working. They spoke to her. And she's the one that alerted to them that she had ring video at the house and offered to remotely download that video for them.
And were you there yourself?
I was not there myself.
When did you yourself speak to the owner of that home?
The last time that I spoke to Dawn Woods was on August 8th of this year.
I'm referring to the first time that you spoke.
I don't recall
Very first time.
I don't recall the first date.
And you did just make reference to an August 8th date. And what was the extent of that conversation?
Objection calls for hearsay.
Grounds?
Sustained.
The August 8th date that you referred to, was that in any way follow-up? Was that follow-up investigation?
Follow up to what?
Well, you stated that you had spoken previously before the August 8th date. So the question is, was the August 8th date follow-up to the investigation that you were already actively lead of?
Everything is related to this investigation. The investigation continues every day. It will not end until this trial is over.
So what follow-up was needed at the time of the August 8th interview? I'm guessing that's what you would call it. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Objection still calls for hearsay, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Why did you need to talk to Ms. Woods multiple times?
Because every time we spoke to her, we got different information, and at that time we were following up with your niece and nephew of what their testimony would be.
What testimony are you referring to? Because I don't recall any nieces or nephews testifying.
I don't think I'm allowed to say it.
I think this line of questioning is irrelevant, Your Honor.
An appropriate break, I can address it further if need be. Please move on to a new topic, sir.
You made reference to people who were injured at the parade inadvertently. You recall that?
Yes, I do.
To your knowledge, were any of those charged? And were they seen as victims?
Going to object to the form of that question. I think it calls for a legal conclusion, Your Honor.
It does not. I asked to his knowledge. I'm going to go a different route. Do you recall serving a warrant to the Waukesha County Jail on July 1st of 2022?
Yes, I do.
Do you recall what that was for?
Yes, I do.
And what was that for? Can you state for the record and for the jury?
It's for Mr. Brooks' jail cell.
And why did you serve a warrant for a jail cell?
Your Honor, I object pursuant to legal rulings previously issued in this case. I don't think this is relevant.
I'll sustain the objection. It's not relevant. I'll certainly take it up at a later point if need be.
What was the warrant pursuant to?
I sustain the objection. Next topic, please.
He did answer.
I sustain the state's objection. I'm directing him not to answer. We'll take it up separately.
You made reference to this vehicle driving into you, but stated you were not injured. Did you file a claim in this matter?
No, I did not.
Do you consider yourself an injured party in this matter?
No, I do not.
Do you yourself know if anyone filed a claim in this matter?
Can you be more specific?
Do you yourself know if anyone filed a claim in this matter?
Just in general?
Whatever your interpretation of that will be.
I would say yes.
And do you know what that claim was?
I would imagine that there was a lot of injuries from the people. A lot of people had very extensive medical bills. I imagine that they would file a claim with their insurance company to have those bills paid.
So you had knowledge of what was filed to their particular insurance companies?
My assumption is that they would have filed those bills.
So it would be fair to say you don't know for sure.
That was my testimony.
Is that the answer?
Yes.
as lead investigator for this matter, are you, to your knowledge, aware of any GoFundMe type of things?
Objection,
relation to-
relevant. I'm sorry.
Do you mean as it relates to?
As it relates to the incident.
Overruled, the witness may answer.
I have no direct knowledge, but I assume that there are some GoFundMe pages out there typical in something like this.
And what do you mean by typical? You've seen this before? Is that what you mean by typical?
We have a very loving and caring community where a lot of times when bad things happen to people pull together and offer financial assistance to help people.
Is it fair to say that there's a lot of communities like that across Wisconsin?
Yes, I think there are.
And it would be fair to say that you've worked extremely close with the district attorney's office during the entirety of this matter. Would that be fair to say?
The district attorney's office has been involved in this investigation since the night of, so we have worked closely.
So would it be fair to say extremely close, seeing as how you've been present for the whole trial pretty much?
Can you define extremely for me?
I would like you to define it extremely.
I'll answer yes if that helps.
To your knowledge, do you know if it's typical for a lead investigator to sit right behind the prosecution table at a trial?
Yes, it's very typical.
Have you ever done this before?
I've done this multiple times before.
And are you the only detective in the investigation that has that honor?
Objection, vague.
Grounds.
Sustained.
Are you the only detective directly involved in the investigation that sits with the prosecution?
Talking about this case or any case?
This particular
or-
case.
Or you interrupted me. Could you repeat that, please?
I believe he said this case.
I'm referring to this case, yes.
Could you ask the question, please?
Are you the only detective actively involved in this investigation that sits with the prosecution in reference to this case?
Yes, I'm the only person, the only detective that's sitting with the prosecution during this trial.
So would you explain who the other officer is in the blue suit over there?
Objection to the relevance, Your Honor.
Grounds.
Sustained.
I just want to know his role. Reason for the
Please.
sustain.
Not relevant.
He's been in the courtroom the whole trial. How is it not relevant? Nobody knows who he is. That should be known. Nobody sits
It's
at
not
that back
relevant
table.
to
I
the
don't even
issues
have a
that the
back
jury
table.
needs to determine. Next questions.
Asking? We're telling. I'm assuming that's asking. You know what the other one would entail.
Do you have a question, sir?
Yeah, I do. I would like to get to it. Thank you.
Please do so. Thank you.
I will. So seeing as how you sat with the prosecution for the entirety of this matter, it would be fair to assume that you know who the plaintiff is in this matter.
Yes, I do.
And who would the plaintiff be in this matter?
The state of Wisconsin.
Is that an entity or a living human being?
It's an entity.
How can an entity file a claim?
Objection.
Grounds.
Legal conclusion.
Grounds, you are aware that only a living, breathing human being can actually file a claim. An entity cannot walk into anywhere and file a claim if it's not even a real person.
Objection.
You
Move
are
to
aware of
strike-
that, right?
Move to strike the statements by Mr. Brooks. Also object to the question that was asked at the end as irrelevant, argumentative, and calling for a legal conclusion.
Objection is not calling
The-
for a legal conclusion in any
The
way.
court sustains the objection. The jury will disregard the statement and the question asked for all of the reasons indicated by the state. It also is a misstatement of the law.
No, I definitely object to that, Your Honor.
Your objection is noted.
I'll take exception to that ruling and would like a legal finding of fact, and that's a judicial determination. Have you ever had any interactions with this entity, state of Wisconsin?
I'm not going to allow the witness to answer. It's vague.
There
Please.
was no objection.
These questions we addressed during the initial cross-examination of this
They're
witness.
going to keep coming up.
And I determined at that time that they weren't relevant. So next topic,
They're going to
please.
keep coming up.
Please move on to a new topic.
They're going to keep coming up.
And-
do you see the state of Wisconsin president in the courtroom today?
Objection. Argumentative.
Grounds.
Irrelevant.
Sustained. Final warning, sir. Next topic or the cross-examination, I will
You
bring it to
don't
an
gotta
end.
you don't gotta keep doing that, Your Honor. You don't gotta keep doing that. I'm informed and
Thank you.
I
Next
respect
topic.
that, but it's relevant for the jury to know the truth. They deserve to know the truth.
Move to strike, Your Honor.
Granted, the jury will disregard
Gra-
those last statements. They're
Objection
not
to that.
relevant. Mr. Brooks is not testifying. They misstate the law.
I object to that. That's not lawful law. It's
Noted.
not truthful.
All right, under 90611, I am now stopping the cross-examination. Any redirect by the state?
Objection to that. and I would like
Noted.
a legal finding of fact.
Attorney Opera, any redirect?
Yes, just very briefly, Your Honor, I would like to display for the witness only Exhibit 178.
Objection.
I haven't seen the exhibit yet. Take that under
I'm
advisement.
objecting still because the
You may show it to the witness.
there needs to be an answer to why the jury's not being told information that they deserve to know.
Your Honor, for the record, this is a video. I'm going to play about the first 5 or 10 seconds for the witness to identify it before moving on, please.
And this seems objection because this seems like a whole new exhibit. This was never mentioned before. It was never.
I haven't seen it. I can't rule on it, sir, so let me see it, and I'll
when
take
did
your
it become an
objection
exhibit?
under, I'll
It
take the
was never an
objection under
exhibit before.
advisement.
I haven't seen this in any of the exhibits that I have, so how could it just be created now and be made an exhibit?
Go ahead,
I
Attorney
have
Opera.
all the exhibits.
Go ahead, Attorney Opera. I haven't seen it yet.
So now we just creating exhibits now. I have all the exhibits, and this was never in it. Oh man.
Sir, do you recognize what's contained in State's Exhibit 178?
Objection.
Overruled.
Relevancy.
Overruled.
Leading.
Go ahead and answer.
Yes, I do.
What is it?
Objection. Leading.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
I'm still gonna object. How is this?
Mr. Brooks, I ask that you honor
I have all
the ruling that
I
I've
have
been
all the
made.
exhibits though, Your Honor. I have them
Mr.
all.
Brooks.
They were provided to me, and this was never in the exhibit. So how could it just be made an exhibit?
I'll take
just
this
out
up
of the blue?
outside the presence of the jury, but I'm going to allow
Can
it.
that be stated for the record? Can that be explained?
No, the jury will disregard the statements made by Mr. Brooks. They're not evident, and the statement
So this
continue.
exhibit shouldn't be evidence then, because it
Mr.
didn't
Brooks, the
exist before
objections
today.
noted. It's overruled. Go ahead.
There was a still photo shown before of Mr. Brooks
This is
standing in
mine,
front of the
by the way.
Ford Escape. This is the video in which that still photo was taken from.
Objection. How does he know that?
Overruled. The witness may answer. I'll give you the opportunity to question him about it when the state's done asking the questions.
Where'd you get this video from, sir?
Objection. Leading.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
From Mr. Brooks' social media account.
Your Honor, move to admit 178 and permission to publish.
Objection to the relevancy.
I'll
And
find that
still
it's
don't know how
relevant.
it's
I'll
obtained.
receive Exhibit 168. Permission to publish is granted.
The length is 2 minutes, 33 seconds. We're going to play it in its entirety, but without volume, Your Honor.
I object to that, and I would like to make an offer of proof for my appeal.
We'll do that outside the presence of the jury, but I will allow the state to play it in its entirety without
Your
audio.
Honor, I have all the exhibits. They were provided.
Mr. Brooks, I'll take that up along with the other two issues I still need to address.
But how can you play something that I didn't even
Mr. Brooks,
have?
I'll take that up outside the presence of the jury.
This
Your
is
objections are
mind-boggling.
noted.
This is
It's
mind-boggling.
overruled.
Mind-boggling.
Actually, Your Honor, I changed my mind. I would like to play the audio.
This is mind-boggling.
I want to have it played first without, and then I'll make a ruling and I'll take that up.
Okay, I understand.
Thank you.
So we will play the entire video, Your Honor, 2 minutes, 33 seconds.
I object to that. Why does the whole video need to be played? Is this setting the foundation?
It's relevant. You questioned the officer about it. You
I
questioned this
question him
detective
about
about his knowledge.
the still frame from the video. The video wasn't even in the exhibits that I received. I actually didn't even receive them. They
Mr.
were
Brooks, please
obtained.
stop. The jury will disregard his statements. He's not testifying. The video's playing.
To play the sound, I want to hear it now.
I'll address that later.
We address why it was created out of the Bluetooth.
Sir, did you see during the playing of that video the image that was captured as a screenshot presented to you in your direct testimony as states exhibit number 175?
Objection leading.
Yes, I
A lot of
You were questioned on cross-examination as to your ability to identify Mr. Brooks in exhibit 175, correct?
Objection. That question was asked initially by Attorney Hopper.
As you just watched the entire video again now in court, as states exhibit 178, did you clearly see Mr. Brooks in that video, sir?
Objection leading.
I believe there's no doubt that that's Mr. Brooks in the video.
Thank you. I don't have any other questions, Your Honor.
As to this particular piece of evidence only, Mr. Brooks, you may ask questions of Detective Casey.
Objection. I don't consent to being called that name. And yeah,
Noted.
I
Do you
got
have any questions for the witness?
This when did this video? When was this made a exhibit? Because I don't have it.
Objection. That's not a question for the witness, Your Honor.
That
Sustained.
was a question. The question.
Sustained.
When was this
As to the
video
form
made
of
an
the
exhibit?
question.
When was this video made an exhibit? That is a question.
I object to the question directed at the witness, Your Honor. It's beyond the scope of his knowledge.
Sustained.
Well, he said he saw it.
If you wanna-
When did you see this exhibit? When did you see it?
The understanding that you're asking when did he see the video, I will
When
allow
did
the
you see
question
this
to be
exhibit?
asked.
Objection, Your Honor. Why is something always funny at that table?
I-
It would be the same thing. I take that as disrespect because they were allowed to say something and I said under my breath that was disrespect.
I
They
would
just
direct
did the
both
same
parties
thing.
to avoid commentary.
Okay, well, can
and
you do that,
gestures
please,
and
and
faces.
admonish them?
Yes,
Because
I
I'm
will.
always the one getting
Absolutely.
admonished.
Everyone-
I take that as disrespect too.
Sir, I'm getting states directed to avoid laughing commentary. I didn't see it, so I can't further comment. I was looking at
All these
the
cameras
witness.
in here, don't nobody never see
However,
nothing.
I'm advising both parties to show
Come on,
decorum
man, this is not fair.
and restraint. Go ahead, Detective Casey. You can answer the question about when you have seen this video prior to today.
I saw the video within a few days of Mr. Brooks being arrested.
You said you reviewed it yesterday and this morning. If you had seen this video numerous times before yesterday and today, why did you feel the need to view it yesterday and today?
Objection. Argumentative.
Grounds. Why did you need to review it this morning?
Objection. Argumentative.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
Because I wanted to be 100% sure of the content.
To your knowledge, why was this video never brought up in your earlier testimony?
Objection. That's a
Grounds.
misstatement, Your Honor.
Sustained.
it was-
As
it
to
was
the
not
form
brought
of
up
the
in
question
the
assumes
testimony.
facts not in evidence.
If you had seen it numerous times before today, why did you need to see it again to make sure if any questions were asked or however you refer to it? What would be the need to view again this morning something that you had viewed numerous times before?
I'll stay with my
Hold on. Objection. Compound. Asked and answered. Misstatement of the facts. Argumentative.
Sustained.
Did you view the video this morning because you knew that the video would be made an exhibit this morning?
Objection. Assumes facts not in evidence.
Sustained.
This is mind-boggling. This is mind-boggling. Can you clarify again why you viewed the video this morning?
Objection. Asked and answered.
Sustained.
So you're going to sustain everything?
It was already answered, sir.
And I'm asking for clarification.
Next question, please.
I don't got no more questions, man.
All right. Thank you.
This is mind-boggling.
Detective, you may step down. I'll excuse the jury.
What you people was trying to do is not fair. Hide things from the jury repeatedly. You don't tell them all the information
Mr.
they
Brooks,
need
I'm
to
going
know.
to take up all of your objections outside the presence of the jury. I'd ask that you honor my decision to do that and you show courtesy and decorum.
Because you asked.
Mr. Brooks, please.
Because you asked. That's the only reason. Because you asked. I see what you people are trying to do. It's not right. It's not fair and it's not right.
First of all, Attorney Hopper, if you can make a record as to this exhibit and whether it's been turned over previously.
It was previously included in the initial discovery that was sent initially to the public defender's office, and now we have a record that those 3 boxes were turned over to Mr. Brooks.
Objection. I don't consent to being called that name, and it was not in the video footage that I have obtained. That video was not part of it. Do you think I would sit here and be this irritated
Mr.
by
Brooks, I need
something
to
that
make
I
a
saw?
record, so just please sit down.
I feel like standing right now.
Please sit down.
I feel like standing.
All right, based upon the offer of proof provided by the state, and it was provided to prior counsel, that satisfies me as to that issue.
That's
I
inaccurate.
indicated
That's
I would.
inaccurate, Your Honor. Can we have the prior counsel testify to that then? Because
Not at this time, sir.
I have not obtained that. Right now, that was my first time seeing that as an exhibit.
Mr.
That's why
Brooks, I
raised the issue.
presume, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you're familiar with that video.
What does that have to do with what we're talking
Because
about?
I'm going to make a finding based upon what I viewed in that video, that there is absolutely no surprise to you. It appears to me, even without the video, that that's a music video, that you are in it, that the vehicle that has been the subject of this entire case, that red Ford Escape with the plate that's been testified to, is in that video. That video is relevant for a number of different reasons, the first of which it goes to identification of you, identification of the vehicle. You opened up the door through your cross-exam of Detective Casey about his ability to identify you in that video.
Okay.
So that opened up the door, and it's proper. There's absolutely no surprise to you that that video exists. And that is my finding as it relates to that.
What do you mean by it's no surprise to me that it exists? That was not the issue. The issue was, how was it made an exhibit at the last moment? How does it be made an exhibit out of the blue? That was the issue. The issue
State can make
didn't
an
have
offer of
anything
proof
to do
on
with-
that,
I
so
respect,
go
Your
ahead,
Honor,
Attorney
you're
Opera.
mischaracterizing what I said, and the record needs to be clear. The issue that I raised was, how does this, at the last minute, out of the blue, become an exhibit?
Attorney
That
Opera,
was the
go
issue.
ahead and make your offer of proof on that.
Thank you, Judge. And another thing worth noting is the testimony of Detective Casey that this video was obtained from the defendant's own Facebook account. The court is well
Objection.
aware.
He said social
There's
media. He
nothing
didn't
that
say what it
Hold on,
was.
sir. Stop interrupting. We have to make a record of it. You've
Then make the record clear.
interrupted multiple times. I've been abundantly patient
record
with
clear.
you. Again, another interruption. So you need to be quiet and let the state make a record. Stop gesturing at
asking me
me.
to be quiet?
Stop rolling your eyes at me.
Are you?
Stop
I'm
mumbling.
looking right at you. I'm not rolling my eyes.
No, you
I'm
have
looking.
throughout. I've seen it
I'm
and
looking.
I've made note
I'm
of
looking
it.
at you. Okay, so are you asking me to be quiet, or are you telling me to be quiet?
Go ahead, Attorney Opera.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I'm gonna take that
And
as
just
asking.
to indicate, Your Honor, this court has been abundantly patient with Mr. Brooks. He challenges the court's authority repeatedly. This court absolutely has the ability to tell him to sit down and be quiet. He is not in control of this courtroom. You are. He doesn't like it because the evidence is stacking up and stacking up. And whenever it does, his response is to accuse you, the court, or the prosecutors of being unethical and hiding things. There is nothing in law that prevents me from pulling something out of my briefcase right now and making it an exhibit if it's relevant. He can object all he wants, and he has made that clear. He will continue to object and obstruct the court and obstruct these proceedings every last chance he gets.
I object to that.
My previous ruling doesn't change in any way that the exhibit is relevant, and I'm taking what the state's saying as withdrawing the request to play the lyrics.
That is correct.
But my decision to admit the video without audio stands. I do want to take up two other issues. One had to do with there was questioning about possible testimony with his niece and nephew, and then the jail cell search. Mr. Brooks, you asked the questions. What is your offer of proof as to why I should allow Detective Casey to come back on the stand and testify about his interaction with your mom and possible testimony of your niece and nephew?
It don't matter with Detective Casey. He's off the stand. He's not going back on the stand.
No, but I told you I would recall him. I wanted to take it up outside the presence of the jury.
How do I supposed to know?
So are you withdrawing that, sir?
How am I supposed to know? I think I deserve a chance to rebut what was just said. I think I deserve that much if it's a fair trial.
What information do you want to provide to me about that last exhibit?
About what last exhibit? I'm talking about the audacity of the prosecution to just put that on the record when it's stating it's untrue.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You just heard her talk for 5-10 minutes straight. Now don't nobody know what I'm talking about.
I don't know specifically what you're talking about,
There's a reference
sir.
made to what I'm supposed to know about the evidence stacking up and this and that, as if that has any bearing on what I still think and what I'm still going to present. It doesn't.
Well, that's not what we're talking about.
She's been
Exhibit.
laughing and making comments under her breath the whole time time during the whole trial, and I never said nothing. I don't know what's being said, but I can tell that it's directed towards me. I'm not an idiot.
I
For her to sit there-
haven't made any of those observations,
I didn't
sir.
say
What
you.
I've observed,
I didn't say you, Your Honor.
No.
But
What I've
for
observed
her,
is
for her, listen, please.
Go ahead.
For her to sit there and try to play it off as if she's not referencing to me, she must think I'm an idiot.
Nobody
That is
said
very
that, sir.
disrespectful to me. I haven't said anything about that until today. She's done it numerous times.
What are you talking about?
Laughing under her breath, trying to cover up the microphone so they can laugh and hee and key. That they've been doing that the whole time. I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything about it.
I have not noticed that.
So why is it always laughing and giggling?
I
involved
haven't
with
noticed that other
We
than-
have cameras. That's what the cameras
Mr.
are
Brooks,
for.
let's refocus our attention on what we're here for, and that's
Okay,
this trial.
then I take
and
that
do
as
you have anything
I
you
take
want to
that
put on
as-
the record?
I'm putting it on the record
as
if I get a
no,
chance.
you need to let me finish. As it relates to the video and my decision to admit
She
it.
just admitted that she just now came with the exhibit. It was not that she just said, she just made it an exhibit. It
That
was
doesn't
not
mean
an
it wasn't
exhibit
turned
before she
over
made
to
it
you.
one.
So do you have some legal basis, sir, for your position? Because I'm not
What do
aware
I
of any.
need legal basis for when she just admitted on the record that she just made this exhibit up
No,
right
she
now?
didn't. That is a complete mischaracterization. Sure, she did not.
That's what. So she wasn't
Create
implying that by saying
exhibit.
that she can
She did
pull
not make
anything
it up.
out of her suitcase.
So that's a figure of
During-
speech.
Okay, so what is
Right.
it implying to? What would that be implying to?
As
How would
attorney-
anyone?
All
How
right,
would
I'm
anyone in
moving
my
on
position?
because you're not
How
providing me
would-
with any
how would
legal
any-
basis.
I didn't even finish.
For me to,
You told me that I can make the record. I'm attempting to make the
well,
record.
Sir, as it relates to the video and my decision to admit it, do you
I
have
just said
anything-
that you didn't even let me finish.
You're not letting me finish.
You didn't let me finish either, Your Honor.
Because you're not providing me.
But how do you- how do you know I
you're
wouldn't get to
providing
that if I
commentary,
didn't finish?
You're not providing me with anything from a legal basis for which I would consider changing my mind. So the state's withdrawn their request to play the audio.
Then why play the video at all then?
I've already made a ruling on that. You're questioning the ruling. You're not asking me to reconsider it based on any legal basis.
There should be a legal reconsideration of it.
Then you need to provide me with the legal basis for that, sir.
So I'm supposed to just come off that with off the top of my head?
Yes.
That's ridiculous.
You're representing yourself. It's not ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. So I was supposed to already come in here this morning and say, oh, a video is going to be shown off the fly at the drop of a hat. Let me try to find some legal thing to combat. How am I supposed to do that?
The bottom line is you opened the door to
It
the
doesn't.
playing
It
of that
doesn't.
video.
We're not talking about
And the
opening
video
no
was
doors.
previously provided to you during
We're
discovery.
not talking about opening no doors. We're talking about being fair.
There's
Because
absolutely
if I
no
would have did
prejudice
that,
to
Your
you
Honor,
in
with all
terms
due
of
respect,
surprise.
with
by
all
that
due respect,
exhibit.
if I had
Right.
done that,
I am going to move on.
If
from
I had
this
done
topic.
that, it would have
Mr.
been a
Brooks,
big
I'm
thing.
advising you.
Are you
that
asking me?
I'm advising you, sir.
oh, okay.
I'm
I don't know what that
advising you
means.
to sit down and
I don't
be
know what that
quiet.
means.
And if you interrupt me again, you are on notice that you will forfeit your right to be present
So
in
you're
this
holding me
trial.
in contempt
Mr.
for the
Brooks,
entire trial? Did you say the entire trial?
I never said any such
You said
thing.
for the trial. So what do
Please.
you mean? I'm asking. What do you mean?
Mr. Brooks, you continue to
That is
come
not.
at me.
I don't consent to being called
You
that name.
continue to fight with me.
I'm
You
not
are
fighting
being
with you.
disrespectful.
I'm not fighting with you. I'm not.
I'm
But
going to give you
said I
one
would have
last
the chance to make the
opportunity to
record.
sit down and be quiet so I can make a finding
Are you
as it relates
asking
to
me
other
to do
things.
that? Are you asking me
I don't
to
need
do
to
that?
ask, I'm telling you. The second issue was the questioning of Detective Casey by Mr. Brooks related to the jail search. Do you want the opportunity to question Detective Casey about either one of these two topics? Is my first question.
Okay. Why was it an issue with me bringing it?
Mr. Brooks, I'm only going to ask you one more time, and if you
I'm
don't
saying
answer it
if I don't
correctly,
understand,
then
if
I
I
will
don't understand what was the problem in the get-go with the question, how am I supposed to answer it now?
Mr. Brooks, I'm going to ask this question one more time.
Man,
It calls for
I don't
a
like.
yes or
I don't
no.
like your tone and the way you're talking to me. I don't.
Mr.
I don't
Brooks,
appreciate it.
Sit down. I don't care if you don't like my
I'm
tone,
not
but
gonna-
you've
I'm
been
not gonna
pushing
sit
my
down.
buttons all day throughout this entire
Okay, you've been
trial, and
pushing
I
my
have
buttons
showed
too.
the utmost of respect
No,
for
you
you,
haven't.
and I don't
Absolutely
appreciate
not.
you impugning the integrity of this court.
If that's
I
what you
don't.
want to call it, that's fine. But it's
Stop
not accurate.
talking.
What you mean? Stop talking?
I need to make a ruling. Okay,
Well,
I'm
let's-
purposely
let's
not
talk-
putting
let's
you in
talk
the
to-
other courtroom
Let's
right
talk to
now.
each other like adults then,
Mr.
because
Brooks.
I've never told you to stop talking.
I'm going to ask this question one more time, and if he doesn't answer it, I'll take it as a no. Do you want the opportunity to question Detective Casey regarding either his questioning or meeting up with your mom and your niece and nephew about possible testimony, or the search of your jail cell.
What was the problem with me asking the
All
question
right,
about the
he's
jail
not answered
cell?
my question. We'll move on.
I'm trying to understand. If I
All right,
don't
we're gonna take a
understand,
break.
how do
We're
I
in
know?
recess, 15 minutes
How do
from
I
now.
know
Thank you,
what I'm
everyone.
supposed to answer if I don't understand and I don't agree to a stop?
Back on the record, State versus Brooks appearances are as they were before.
I don't consent to being called that name for the record.
I had one question about Exhibit 89. Do you recall what Exhibit 89 is? It's
The
a
certified bail form?
No, I'm asking.
Oh.
I'm asking Mr. Brooks.
Oh,
So
sorry.
that was the second of the 2 bail bonds. Do you have a recollection of whether it was received?
I don't.
All right, then
I
what
know I
was?
objected to it.
Someone caught that we moved, it was either Exhibit 175 or 178 into evidence, and the court admitted either 165 or 168 on the record.
You have any recollection of that, sir?
Recollection of what?
Related to what the state just put on the record.
Exhibits 175 and 178 that were shown to the jury this morning, those 175 and 178 were offered, and the court has admitted those into evidence. So however you want to.
All right, sir, do you have any position on how I address this in front of the jury?
Yeah, I'm objected to him being admitted at all.
Well, those objections were already addressed. I'm talking about how I addressed to make sure the jury knows they were received by the court.
However you gonna do it is how you gonna do it. I don't think what I gotta say much matters.
Well, what you say matters, sir, but
No,
the
it don't.
fact that I've already ruled on the
Definitely
admissibility is not something I'm going to revisit.
What I have to say about anything definitely doesn't matter.
I take huge objection with that, sir. This court takes your positions on evidence, legal arguments, admissibility, things of that nature. I take all of that quite seriously.
Somehow it's always overruled or discarded.
Sir, can I keep going because you've interrupted me once again? Before I bring the jury out, there's one other thing I want to do, though. I just need a moment to pull something up from on my computer.
So is that addressing subject matter jurisdiction that you're pulling up? When would that be proven for the
Sir,
record?
please don't interrupt me. I need to focus on what I'm
I'm not
doing.
interrupting you. I'm just asking a question.
I'm not going to be addressing that.
So would it be
Don't
proven?
interrupt me right now. I'm trying to do something on my computer.
Would it be
and I need to
proven on the
focus.
record?
I feel it's important at this time to at least give you the advisement pursuant to Special Material 28. It is regarding your decision on whether to testify. I'm not asking you to make that decision, but since we're on the verge of you starting your case and it may impact your opening statement, I wanted to go through the following. Sir, are you aware that you have a constitutional right to testify?
I've been informed.
Are you advised and informed that you also have a constitutional right not to testify?
I'm not advised. I'm informed.
Are you advised and informed that the decision whether to testify is for you to make?
I don't understand the question.
Are you advised and informed that the decision on whether you testify in this trial is for you and you alone to make?
I'm informed, not advised.
Are you advised and informed, sir, that if you choose not to testify, the jury will be advised that they cannot use that against you? In other words, you have that right not to testify.
I'm informed.
When you make a determination about whether to testify in this trial, I will further be asking you about whether anyone has made any threats or promises to you to influence your decision. I may also briefly go over your educational background. Did you hear me say that?
No, I'll say it again.
At the appropriate time, when we go through this discussion more fully, I will also ask you whether anyone has made any promises to you to influence your decision on whether to testify. Did you hear me say that?
I'm informed.
And then I will also ask you if anyone's made any threats or coerced you in any way in your decision to testify or not.
What's the significance of that?
So that I can make appropriate findings about the voluntariness, intelligence, and whether it's knowing, voluntary, and intelligent, your decision to testify.
So whether I give consent.
That's not the legal determination that I make. It is simply something that is your choice. I will honor your right not to testify. Obviously, that's a constitutional right. I will honor your right to testify. That's also a constitutional right. And the jury will be advised one way or the other. There's a jury instruction on that. Did you hear me advise you of all of this?
I'm informed.
Okay, let's bring the jury out.
May I remove that exhibit, please?
Jury already coming out. Yeah, so go ahead and sit it back down. Subject matter jurisdiction still hasn't been proven for the record, Your Honor. Should be proven at some point.
Thank you, everyone. Please be seated. All right, then I'll turn to the state. Any additional evidence at this time. Exhibits 88, 89, 150, 151, 177, and 178. If I didn't receive them during the testimony, I'm receiving them now.
And 175, which was the still photo.
Thank you. Sorry, I had to scribble on my pad. And 175.
And 13 and 14.
I believe those were received as well, but if I didn't
Objection, I
state
think
it.
they was already received.
Do they have any additional witnesses to call at this time?
No, Your Honor, at this time, the state rests.
All right, then at this time, we are going to break for lunch hour. Mr. Brooks, anything from you at this time, given the state is now rested?
What you mean?
I'm asking you the question. Do you have any requests at this time now that the state has rested?
Request pertaining to what exactly?
I'll ask the question one more time. Do you have any requests to make at this time now that the state has rested?
I don't understand what you mean by that. That's why I'm trying to get clarification.
I'm not going to give you legal advice. I'm simply asking the question. Do you have any requests to make at this time now that the state has rested?
I don't know what I'm supposed to say to that. I don't understand what would that be pertaining to.
I can't give you
don't
legal
know.
advice, sir. I'm just asking the question to make a record. I'll ask you one more time. Do you have any requests to make now that the state is rested?
I don't understand.
With that, we will take our lunch break. It's 12:09. If you could be back here at 1:25 and be ready to go at 1:30 with your opening statements.
I got a question. Do I get to present exhibits and stuff like that too and admit them into evidence?
Do you want to use exhibits that have been received during your opening? Is that what you're asking me?
No, I'm saying if I got my own stuff that I want to offer into evidence, which is a question I asked previously.
Do you believe the
And
state has all of those documents that they might be able to assist with? Or are they new documents?
I don't know what you mean by new documents.
Are they documents from the discovery that you have?
They documents of my filings and stuff like that. I'm sure they have copies of everything that I filed.
I guess without knowing specifically what you're referring to, sir, I did give you the admonition previously that you are prohibited from discussing subject matter jurisdiction during your opening statement. It's not relevant.
I'm not referring to the opening statement. I'm referring to things that I want to offer
Give me
for
an
evidence.
example, please.
I just did. I said I have filings that I want to offer into evidence.
That's too general, sir. I need a specific example so I can answer the question. What are you referring to?
My filings, everything
Which
that I filed.
filings, sir?
Every one of them.
Well, they have to be relevant, number one, to the proceedings. Okay, number two, I don't know specifically what you're referring to. You can't offer testimony of yours through an exhibit. That would be hearsay. So you'll have to testify if it's your statement that you're referring to.
I'm not referring to I didn't say anything about testimony. I said
I'm being
filings.
general based on what I've seen thus far. So are you talking about during your opening statement or during the course of the questioning of the witnesses that you're calling?
Your Honor, with all respect, I just clearly said filings that I filed.
Mr. Brooks, if I understood, I'd answer. I don't understand what you're asking me. You need to be specific.
I've filed a number of documents. I think that's on the
Well,
record
without
that I
knowing what
filed.
you're referring to, then my answer is no. But again, well, I guess I'll have to wait and see as to when you seek to admit them, whether there's any objection or not, and whether they comply with all of the rules of evidence and the rules of procedure. That's the best I can tell you at this point.
I don't understand what you mean by that. They would only be relevant to, obviously, the matter. They would
Sir,
be relevant to anything
I
else.
can't answer that anymore. We're going to take our lunch break. It's 12:12. We'll see everyone back here at 1:25. We are in recess.
So I'm not allowed to offer anything in the evidence?
For the record, I never said that. State versus Brooks appearances are as they have been. Mr. Brooks, I presume you're ready for your opening statement?
Just 1 second. For the record, I don't consent to that name.
Noted. I intend to have the jury brought out. I presume you're ready to go?
Having a slight issue finding...
Can you sit up? Because I'm not hearing you very well, so that the microphone picks you up, please.
I'm having a slight issue locating some of the files that I need. That's what I was trying to say.
All right, we'll take a moment. You can look. Tell me when you locate them.
Okay. Your Honor, I have a question.
Go ahead.
The files that I'm attempting to locate are pertains directly to the witnesses that I will be calling. I'm not sure what witnesses are here today.
Well, let's do this. I'd like you to at least do your opening statement, but I'd like to at least bring the jury out and start with your opening statement, okay?
Well, just so I'm clear, I didn't give a specific order in who I will be calling by specific order. I gave a generalization of
Darrell,
who
have
would
this
be
date. Sorry.
who would be called on what day.
Why don't I have the state write down who's here presently? Okay.
That's what I was trying to get at. It would help to know who's actually here today.
Before you make your opening statement?
Well, so I know if they're not here, then essentially I can't call them.
Let's address that after. But at this point, I would like to bring the jury out for your opening statement. I presume you're going to give one.
I am.
Then I'll have the jury brought out, okay?
Subject matter jurisdiction. Is it verified proof for the record?
Sir, I don't believe I need to do that.
Can you show me lawful law that says that?
I gave you a written decision. I have done that.
Can you show me lawful law that verifies that?
Sir,
For the record.
I gave you a written decision. You
That
can,
I accepted for value in return for
and
value.
that's how I'm going to answer that. So
it was
let's
not verified proof. We still aren't.
Sir, there is no requirement in the law that the state or the court establish that. So
Actually,
your
there is.
objection's noted.
All right.
Actually, there is, Your Honor. Subject matter jurisdiction has
Sir,
to be
please.
proven for the record. Has
It
to
does
be
not.
proven. Has to be proven. You know that just as well as
Mr. Brooks,
you know that.
please do not make statements that mischaracterize the law
You know it has to be proven
or that
for the
impugn
record.
the integrity of this
You
court.
know it has to be proven
and the
on the
proceedings
record.
here.
You know
the
it
jury
has
is
to be proven.
advised to disregard the statements that Mr. Brooks is making regarding subject matter jurisdiction. They are not evidence, and you are to disregard them.
They're not presented as evidence. This has yet to be proven for the record.
The jury will disregard the incorrect statements of the law that Mr. Brooks is stating.
Where's lawful law that is incorrect?
Mr. Brooks, please. With that, go ahead, sir.
Obviously, I don't have any rehearsed or well-prepared speech, so I'm just going to speak from the heart. I would just like to first say that I want to bring to remembrance something I think everyone in this room has been taught pretty much as far back as we can remember, is that there's always two sides to every story. And for so long now, roughly a year, there's only truly been one side told of this story. And I sat back and watched from countless narratives that's been put out there, the way this incident has been portrayed at times, and finally everyone getting a chance to get the full story. You won't hear me try to argue facts. Fact is, this incident was tragic, very tragic. That's not lost on me. Facts are that there's still a lot of people healing, a lot of families healing on both sides. What I'm confident that the evidence will show, sorry, I'm getting a little emotional. I'm confident that the evidence will show is that this incident was not planned, this incident was not intentional, and this incident was never even thought about. It's easy to, I think it's easy to look at the magnitude of something like this and form opinions. I think it's easy to disregard a lot of factors, and I think in reference to what I stated earlier, it's easy to forget the other side of the coin. There's been a lot of suffering involved in this incident, a lot. Obviously, with the families, with the community, and even the alleged defendant's family as well. There's been a lot of suffering, a lot of misunderstanding, and I just want you to keep in mind everything that will be presented in its totality. Keep in mind the power that you have. I believe that shouldn't escape your knowledge. This has been a long process for everybody, and what I believe is when it's time for you to make your decision, all of you, I believe that, and I pray that it's the right decision, that all the factors are weighed. There's been a lot of words thrown out there about the alleged, a lot of speculation, a lot of ridicule, words like demon, words like monster. I know a lot of the time I've been before you see me with this mask on. I've had my reasons for that, but I feel now is the time that it's important that you see me for who I am, and no mask, for who I am. I think this is the moment for that. I pray that your eyes and ears remain as open as possible, and understand that you alone decide this case, this matter. Power is in your hands, all of you, to determine for yourselves what truth is. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Brooks, you ready to call your first, would be your second witness, actually. We're going to take a short break. I'll rise for the jury, please. Mr. Brooks, have you found what you were looking for?
I'm just gonna go with, I'm just gonna work off the list of the people who's here.
You know who you're going to call first? We'll have that person ready.
Yeah.
You want to let us know? Otherwise, you can just call when we are in front of the jury. So have the jury brought out, please.
Most likely Bertram.
Okay.
Most likely.
Do you want to give us two names?
Since I'm working off this list, I wasn't expecting that to be first. Apparently, this list is who's here.
That's my understanding as well. Is there someone you expected to be on the list that is not?
Kinda.
Do you want me to address it in any way?
Not right now.
Or you may call your second witness.
The defense would like to call the plaintiff, state of Wisconsin, to the stand.
Object.
The objection is noted. It is sustained. Call your next witness, please.
Reason for the sustain?
Not relevant.
The subpoena was accepted, Your Honor.
I'll take the issue up outside the presence of the jury if necessary.
Well, I would like to make an oral tennis motion to dismiss for failure to appear by the plaintiff and for failure to state a claim from which relief can be granted.
I will take that up outside the presence of the jury. Next witness, please.
So is the state not present?
I'm not going to address that any further.
The defense calls Nicholas Kirby. Good afternoon, Mr. Kirby. How are you today?
I'm here.
What do you do for a living?
Mostly temp work.
Do you recall the events of November 21st of 2021?
All too well.
And what were you doing that day, around 3 o'clock-ish?
I was walking with Corey around Waukesha.
You made reference to walking with Corey. Who is Corey?
Corey is a friend of Miss Patterson.
And would it be fair to say that it's also a friend of yours?
Mutual friend.
In reference to Corey?
Yeah.
And what were you doing?
Walking around Waukesha, she was waiting for Miss Patterson to get done meeting with Mr. Brooks. You
at 3 o'clock?
Around 3 o'clock-ish. Around that time, I had advised her not to go meet with Mr. Brooks.
You made reference to Mr. Brooks. Who's that?
That would be you.
And why would you say it would be you?
Because that's your name.
And you were privy to that information at the time?
I was privy to the information about you about a week prior.
About a week prior. During your walking around, what were you doing with Corey?
Literally walking. We went from one store to walking around downtown.
You made reference to going from one store to another. What stores are you referencing?
Dollar General and Speedway.
Did you go anywhere else? Did you ever go to a park? You made reference to knowing about a Brooks a week prior to these events, you said?
I didn't know everything about him. Miss Patterson had showed me his rap sheet, if you will.
You made reference to a picture you were shown?
Just a photograph with a rap sheet.
And at some point, did you and your mutual friend Corey meet up with Miss Patterson? Do you recall where that was?
We were walking away from Dollar General, toward where Erica had said that she was being assaulted and attacked.
Do you recall where that area was? Where was that area?
On White Rock Avenue, red apartments across from that area.
Red apartments. Do you know what those?
I'm guessing they're called White Rock Apartments.
And do you know if there's a park in that immediate vicinity?
There is a park there named Frame Park, yes.
Did you ever go to Frame Park?
No.
About what time did you and your mutual friend Corey meet up with Miss Patterson?
Patterson called me and said that she was...
About what time was the question? About what time?
And I'm getting to that.
I'll direct the witness answer his question specifically. What time?
I don't wear a watch. Sorry, I don't remember the time.
Let's back up a little bit. Around what time did you and your mutual friend Corey first hook up that day?
It was probably about 2:30, 3 o'clock.
And at some point you received a phone call from Miss Patterson?
Yes.
You yourself?
Yes.
And then at that point, what did you do?
I took off from where I was near Dollar General and ran to where she told me to go.
And when you got there, what did you see?
I stopped a police officer at a barricade and I let him know that a woman was being assaulted in a vehicle.
Do you recall giving a description of who may have been assaulting your friend?
No.
Why not?
I told them you need to be looking for a red SUV with a woman screaming out of it.
And how did you come into the knowledge of the description of the vehicle? At what point did you see the vehicle?
When Corey and I were walking up White Rock Avenue, I walked past the red vehicle, didn't realize that she was in that vehicle, and I heard her scream, Miss Patterson scream. I don't remember exactly what she said, but she screamed and I knew it was her.
I don't think that's what I asked.
I'm just giving you full description.
Let's back up a little bit because that doesn't make sense. You stated that you had a description of the vehicle. Would that be fair to say? The question was learn of the description of the vehicle at that point.
There aren't many red SUVs with young women screaming for help.
So I'm assuming, because you made reference to stopping law enforcement before arriving to the scene, would that be fair to say? So I'm assuming somewhere in the time of you stopping the law enforcement officer to report what you were being told, and then actually walking past the vehicle as you said you did, and then hearing this and all this, did you give a full report to law enforcement?
I said there's a woman being attacked in a red SUV. You need to call for backup.
And then you just ran.
And then I
away?
ran towards the person that needed help.
Did you at any time give a more detailed report? Did you speak with any more law enforcement that evening? Do you recall whom that was?
I don't even know the name of the officers that turned into Frame Park and went to the boat launch instead of where Miss Patterson, myself, and Corey were. I did speak to an officer.
How did you come into the knowledge of where officers turned and went?
The officer that I had stopped at the barricade when we were coming to Miss Patterson's aid had radioed for backup. That backup came, but they went to Frame Park.
Any idea why they went to Frame Park if you specifically told them a description of a vehicle and where it was located?
Mr. Brooks had taken off in his SUV.
In the police report, is it fair to say that the officer that took your report was writing down what you told them? Well, let me back up. On the next day, the 22nd of November of 2021, did you speak with a detective at that time? And during that interview, were they writing down what you were saying?
Believe so, yes.
Do you yourself recall stating to the detective your friend Miss Patterson was being assaulted somewhere near the area of White Rock School? At any time did you identify White Rock School?
I identified the street, which is named White Rock, the apartment buildings, and the school as well as Frame Park.
So you did identify Frame Park?
I identified the entire geographical area.
And at some point you said you heard your friend Miss Patterson screaming. Do you recall what she was screaming?
I'm guessing it would be help.
Do we still have the exhibit with the footage from the White Rock School available? The security footage, I'm sorry.
We do.
I'm sorry, you said do.
Exhibits 3 and 4 have been received. One is of the White Rock Door 1, the other is White Rock Door 2. I believe those are the videos you're referring to.
Let's try door 2.
Okay, just put it up for the witness initially, make sure it's the one Mr. Brooks wants. Can you see that on your monitor, Mr. Brooks? Is this the one you're looking at?
Yeah, I can see it. I would need a little bit of it played. Well, before it's published, can you show it to the witness? I'm sorry, I should have said that before.
I'm not sure if this is the video you're looking for, though.
It might be, think it might be door 1. I was kind of thinking that too.
Pause right now at 105.
105. Can you back it up a few seconds? Not 2 or 3, but maybe 5 seconds, 6 seconds maybe. Can you play from here? I don't think it's playing.
It's playing.
Oh, okay. Pause right there. From what you can see in this video, do you see anyone get in or out of the vehicle that you see on your screen?
Miss Patterson has just exited the vehicle.
I didn't hear the answer.
Miss Patterson was the one that exited the red SUV.
You saw someone exit.
Yes.
Can you rewind it back? Did you see anyone from, in the video that you're being shown now, from about the 1 minute and 5 second mark to where it's paused right now at 1 minute and 21 seconds, did you observe anyone get in or out of the vehicle?
I'm going to take back what I said earlier. Apparently, according to this video, she did not exit your vehicle. She was behind the White Rock sign. That's why I did not see her.
Did you see anyone get into the vehicle?
Later on within the incident, yes.
On the video there you are able to view right now, from 1 minute and 5 second mark to the 1 minute and 21 second mark, did you observe anyone get into the vehicle?
No.
Can you publish for the jury?
You want to replay it again?
Yes. Around the 105.
Or
I know we have to wait for the jury, right? At that time, were you already en route to where you believe your friend was being assaulted at?
Objection calls for speculation. This defendant has not even put this witness at this location at this time. He's just having him testify about what he's seeing in video.
please establish some foundation for this witness being present for
Were you-
more information about the incident.
Were you present at this time?
We were not in the general location of the school as of yet.
So to your recollection, you didn't see anything that you're seeing right now or on this video. You did not see the day of the incident? Did you see?
At this specific time, no.
Can we play a little bit more, if I may?
Objection as to relevance. If he wants to direct the video to a certain time that, and he would like to ask this witness about that particular time if the witness saw that, that's fine. But he can't go through each video and ask general questions.
There's only been one video that's been shown. What I'm attempting to do for the record, Your Honor, is...
Just play the video and you can ask your question.
All right.
Go.
Can you pause it right there? By what you are viewing in this video right now, had you and your mutual friend Corey linked up with Ms. Patterson at that point?
That was when Erica was on the phone trying to get a hold of me. We were not near the school at that point in time, though.
To your recollection, that's when you would say the phone call to you was made?
That's when I left.
You just made reference to that point in the vehicle being... I'm sorry. Oh, I'm so drained. That point in the video was when you made reference to that point in the video being when you received the phone call.
A phone call out of multiple from her.
That's fair, a phone call. Would it be fair to say, though, that, and this is in reference to you saying that you were having issues with your phone that day, would it be fair to say that you're not sure how many phone calls you had received that day or who they were from all around the same time? Can we continue to play from 1:38? Can you pause right there very quick? Do you see in this video your friend Miss Patterson walking back in the direction that she had just come from?
I see her on the phone talking to someone, which I assume would be me.
Mr. Kirby, I need you to answer the specific question that's being asked.
Yes, I see her on White Rock on the phone walking back in the direction she was originally
Again, Your Honor, I'm going to object
from.
to this line of questioning unless the defendant can put this witness there. I don't know what the relevance of this testimony is.
I didn't even
The
get to that
exhibit
point.
has been received, it's been published previously.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to give Mr. Brooks some leeway.
At-
I would like you to get to where you need to go, though.
That was the next question. At this point in the video, had you yet come into a range where you and your mutual friend Corey, had you yet come into a range where you can see Miss Patterson at that point? Could you yourself see her at that point?
I heard her scream.
And you made reference to that scream being heard from inside the vehicle. Would that be fair to say? Would it be fair to say that in the phone call you received, she told you where she was at, and that's the area that you were generally responding to with your mutual friend Corey?
Miss Patterson doesn't know Waukesha. I knew the area she was talking about because I live in that area.
Would it be fair to say that you just testified to when you had the interaction with law enforcement that you stated you're on the phone with her right now trying to figure out where she was? So would it be fair to say at that point you didn't know where she was?
I knew that she was on White Rock. At that specific time, I did not know.
We're paused at the 1 minute and 47 second mark of this video. It's a little hard to see houses and things of the like. Can you point out in what area the red apartment you're referring to might be?
Corner, right here. This whole area.
Would it be fair to say where we're paused at in the video, we can't tell if there's any vehicle parked in that general area?
You literally just played the video where the vehicle
Just
turned
answer the
around.
question, sir.
No, you cannot see it from this angle.
Would it be fair to say that where the video is paused now, that Miss Patterson is not, or who you identified as Miss Patterson is not inside of a vehicle?
She is not inside of a vehicle.
Can we play it from 1 minute and 47 seconds? Pause there. At this point, had you come into a range where you can see Miss Patterson at that point? And you made reference to your friend Corey spotting her first.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Corey had said that she thought she had seen her.
And at this point, walking with your friend Corey, had she alerted you to spotting Miss Patterson at that point?
She said she's over here. She must be out of his car now or something. She said something along the lines of that. So we went across the street and there was Miss Patterson hobbling down the street with a boot on her leg.
You made reference to your friend Corey saying she must be out of his car now. Do you know, as you were walking with your friend Corey, do you know if she observed Miss Patterson being in a vehicle at that point?
I assume that when someone tells me that they're in a vehicle, then they are in a vehicle.
Can you play it from 2:13? Hard to see down in that corner. Pause right there. Is that 4:09? Would it be fair to say we see some individuals walking right here? Are you able to see that in the video?
Yes, I can see it.
At that time, had you come close enough to the scene where you can observe any individuals in that area?
I don't remember the people that were in that area.
Could you at that point observe Miss Patterson? At that time, yeah, where's paused at now?
During a parade, no.
We observed at some point Miss Patterson crossing over to the opposite side of the road.
Yes.
Did you see that?
Yes.
Any
I was
eye-
on the phone with her at that point.
Could you observe from coming down White Rock? Can you observe that from where you were at that time? Could you see her from that position?
No.
Can we play it from 4:09? Pause right there. You see the two individuals here?
Yep.
Do you know who those individuals are?
That's me and Miss Corey.
So at 4:09 to 4:18, you were able to come into view of Miss Patterson at that point?
No. I was on my phone trying to call her back.
So at this point right here where the video is paused, 4:18, you weren't able to observe Miss Patterson on White Rock Avenue at that point? Would it be fair to say that judging from the video, the White Rock, let me back up. Are you referring to the sign right here that says White Rock Campus?
I'm referring to where the end of the school building itself meets the driveway or the road that's there. There's a turnoff road.
I apologize. Can you point to exactly what you're referring to?
Where that intersection is, where I just drew that little X. It leads to a road, but also there's the frame park area there, and I believe there's a boat launch there.
At that point, you were able to observe Miss Patterson. So you observed Miss Patterson walking and not inside of a vehicle.
No.
No,
As in she was not in a vehicle.
So when, if at any time, did you observe Miss Patterson inside of a vehicle?
When she was going back into his vehicle to get her things.
Can we play the video from 4:18? Oh, I'm sorry. Can we clear the X?
Continuing to
Sorry
play
about
from
that.
4:18, it's at 4:21, but go ahead.
Pause right here. Is it fair to say it stopped at 4 minutes and 38 seconds? Is it fair to say from the video that two people right there are crossing the road?
Yes.
Do you know the identity of those two people?
That's me and Miss Corey.
Would it be fair to say that at that time you observed Miss Patterson?
That was when I first noticed the red Jeep.
You made reference to Miss Patterson coming from around the vehicle.
Coming from the passenger side, so I had assumed that she had just gotten out of the vehicle.
Do you know that for sure?
If I didn't see her earlier when I was on White Rock, or a vehicle earlier on White Rock, how could I know?
Did you see her in the vehicle at?
I seen her come from around the vehicle. I am not actually sure if she was in the vehicle at that point in time.
If it pleases Your Honor, do we have a better view of this point in particular?
I don't know.
Maybe on Exhibit 3 might be a better view of this
If you have a
particular
specific spot to direct the state to, then I will have them do that, but
Can we view Exhibit 3?
do you have a specific spot to direct the state to on Exhibit 3?
I'm not sure. It's been, I don't know how long since we viewed that exhibit. I don't know how long it is.
But you'll have to give me a little more information.
Okay. I think that's why I was stating about the length of the video. I'm pretty sure I would know the exact spot. I don't know how long that video is. It's towards the end of it. I know that for sure.
Can you ask your next question? You need to be able to tell the state with more specificity which part of which exhibit and at what point.
Well, I know the exhibit. The exhibit would be 3. The spot, judging on the length of the exhibit, would be towards the end of the exhibit.
And you're sure it's Exhibit 3? Be
That
Exhibit
would be
4.
White Rock Door 1, correct?
I'm going to just ask the state to just preview to the parties. We'll see if we can find it quickly on Exhibit 3.
Yes. So it's
Looks like it's 4.
yeah, about 4:14, a little
Minutes.
over 4 minutes. So I would say around about the 3:30ish mark, if that helps. I would say take it back to about 3:15.
This is the footage, though, you're looking
Yes,
for?
this is the footage, yes. Let's go 3 minutes, exactly. This is definitely the video. But before it's played, wait for the jury.
Well, I don't want to have to play it twice for the jury, so if you're
Oh.
going to question him, let's show it. It's already been admitted.
So should it just publish
Why
now
don't
or
we
just...
publish it from this point, play it, and you can ask the witness questions regarding it, okay?
Okay. So are we publishing or...
Yes, we'll publish now.
Right now it's paused at 3 minutes. Does looking at this video right now bring any recollection of that day back to you? Using the touchscreen, can you identify, if you see yourself in this video, can you identify where you are?
I'm right here.
Can you identify who the other person is that's shown on the exhibit?
That's Miss Corey.
Play from right
Let's
there.
clear that first and then
Oh,
play.
I'm sorry. Well, before we play, could you see right there where you are, can you see Miss Patterson, where her position is at that point?
No.
Can we play it from right there? Can we pause? It's fair to say that we can see you and Miss Corey running towards the area of the vehicle that just stopped. Is that
Yes.
fair to say?
Yeah.
Where was Miss Patterson at this time, if you recall? At that time, was Miss Patterson inside of the vehicle?
I do not recall the owner of the vehicle getting out of the vehicle, and that became my primary concern.
So hold fast a little bit. We observed the two, you and Miss Corey running towards the area of the vehicle. Why such the urgency?
Miss Patterson is a mutual friend of ours. She said she was in trouble. I don't play around when people are in trouble.
Can we play it from, it's paused at 3 minutes and 8 seconds. Can we play a little bit of it from there? Pause right there. Can you see Miss Patterson? Do you see Miss Patterson in this video? Let's
Yes.
pause that right now. Is she inside the vehicle? Had you seen her before that?
Corey had spotted her, not me.
But it is fair to say that you're also in the area at that time, correct?
Not in this general frame, no. I'm
Not
actually outside
not
of the
the
frame.
not the video, but you are present on the scene. Would that
Oh,
be fair to
yes.
say? And what happened at this point, if you recall?
At this point, there was a physical altercation between Mr. Brooks and Miss Corey and Miss Erica.
Do you recall if there was a knife involved at that time?
No.
Did you at any point during this altercation, did you observe Miss Patterson get back into the vehicle at that point?
I observed her reaching into the vehicle for something
Did you observe
while
her?
this was going on.
Did you observe her get into the vehicle?
No.
Can we play it from 3 minutes and 11 seconds, please?
Go ahead.
Pause it right there. Did you see yourself come into the frame in this vehicle at that
Yes.
point? Would that be you there?
Yes.
It would be fair to say that you had some type of jacket on, or a black jacket. What happened to your jacket at that point?
That jacket hit the ground as soon as Mr. Brooks started going for the two women.
So you threw the jacket off? What was your reason for throwing the jacket off?
I'm just going to say it's a good thing that there were two women in my way at that point in time.
And what do you mean by that?
That means when my jacket comes off, trouble's going to happen.
So that gesture was an aggressive gesture. Well, you did make reference to, let me back up. Would it be fair to say that you just made reference to trouble following you throwing off your jacket?
Not trouble following me.
Well, maybe that's the wrong way to put it, but
I'm
there would
confused
be
by your
trouble.
question.
Excuse me?
Can you rephrase your question?
Oh, I will. I'm sorry about that. You made reference to there being trouble when your jacket comes off. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Would it be fair to say that that would be, or that could be, perceived as an aggressive gesture?
You mean as in...
Objection. Close for speculation.
If you recall, who gave the report that there was a knife involved?
There was a miscommunication, but
Did you get a chance to see the report that was taken by law enforcement from you? The day of November 2020, the day of November 22nd, 2021. You made reference already to being interviewed by a detective, correct?
yes.
And had you, after that, seen that report from that day?
No.
And you stated that the reporting of the knife was a miscommunication, you
Yes.
referred to it as?
Yes.
Did you at any time tell law enforcement that there was a knife involved in the altercation?
No.
Do you know if your friend Corey told law enforcement that there was a knife involved in the altercation?
No, she did not.
Do you know if your friend Miss Patterson told any law enforcement that there was a knife involved in the altercation?
She did not as well.
And how long before the incident on November 21 of 2021 had you known Miss Patterson up until that point?
2 weeks.
I want to back up to the phone call that you received from Miss Patterson. When she called you, did she give you a name of whoever may have been assaulting her?
She was meeting one person that day, and I knew exactly who he was.
Do you recall stating, well, actually, you testified to that here today. Do you recall stating that you walked past the red SUV that was parked? Would it be fair to say from the 2 exhibit videos that we watched today that you, in fact, did not walk past any SUV? Is it fair to say that the video doesn't show you walking past any red SUV?
If the
Is
video,
that fair to say?
If the video proves that, then yes.
In the report that in the report that was taken from you by detective, do you yourself recall stating that the alleged defendant tried to punch and push you?
Attempted to.
Would it be fair to say from the video that it doesn't show you being pushed or?
No, it does not. It shows me pulling 2 women away.
Any reason why you would state to detectives that the alleged defendant attempted to punch and push you?
Probably because there were 3 different people's fists flying, and I was just trying to get the people that I cared about out of the way of danger. So if my statement to the detective is off a little bit after watching a bunch of people get run over.
So you were at the parade that day?
I was not at the parade that day. I was in the area.
So
trying to get back to my house.
So how can you watch people being run over if you weren't at the parade that day?
I was in the area that...
Did you see anyone injured that day during the parade?
Yes, after I walked back through that area.
You saw someone get injured?
I saw a red SUV take off like a bat out of hell down Main Street and go through a crowd of people.
Question was, did you see this take place?
With my own freaking eyes.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I don't know how to...
Are you moving to strike the last response? The jury will disregard the last response.
Is it fair to, well, in reference to the Exhibit 3 video that we just viewed, the one that we just viewed, which would be Exhibit 3, is it fair to say from that vehicle,
Video.
I'm sorry. From that video, is it fair to say from that video, in fact, there are not 3 people throwing punches? That'd be fair to say?
There are 3 people throwing hands in that video. Erica, Corey, and Mr. Brooks. Not myself. That means when my jacket comes off, trouble's gonna happen. If you watch the video, you will see 3 pairs of hands go up towards one another.
Do you recall where you went after that altercation?
You mean where me and the 2 girls went? Where me and Miss Patterson and Miss Corey went?
Where you and the
2
friends went? Yes.
We started walking back. We turned to walk back the direction we had came, so taking White Rock to Main Street. Things took a drastic turn when the red SUV that I have described multiple times, I did not expect.
Can you strike everything that's not pertaining to the question that was asked?
Actually, I'm just describing the entire event in its entirety.
Do you recall where you and your 2 female friends went after the altercation?
We started to head back in the direction of the women's shelter where they live.
Do you recall at any point during your travels to the women's shelter, as you referred to it, do you recall at any time coming into contact with another law enforcement officer? Do you recall at any time being stopped by a law enforcement officer on your way back to the women's shelter? Would it be fair to say that that was the second law enforcement officer that you had spoke with that day at that time?
You are referring to November 21st?
Correct.
Okay.
During that interaction with the second law enforcement officer, do you yourself recall stating that a black guy just assaulted my friend? Any reason why the officer would report that?
Objection, calls for speculation.
Rounds.
Sustained.
Did you yourself sustain any injuries during the altercation? Did you report to any law enforcement? Well, I guess that would refer to the second law enforcement officer that you spoke with. Did you report that to that officer?
No. I didn't notice my hand was ripped open again until I got home.
So it would be fair to say that you don't know how those stitches opened up. Would that be fair to say?
My stitches got caught on the zipper on Corey's backpack.
Knowing a little bit about stitches, would it be fair to say that a wound that was stitched being reopened would cause a little bit of pain? Would that be fair to say?
Objection, relevance.
Rounds.
Sustained.
Did you notice any blood from the stitches being reopened? So was it 2 stitches that opened or 3?
Objection. Relevance.
Grounds.
Overruled. He may answer, but then move on.
And do you recall what time you made it home that evening? Was it immediately after the altercation or sometime after? And do you recall speaking with your women friends after you had made it home that evening? Did at any time you indicate to them that you...
Hold on, let him finish the question. He was asking what he indicated to them.
I thought that's what I said.
You can ask your question. That's what I thought you were saying too.
Did you yourself at any time indicate to your female friends that you had sustained an injury during the altercation?
No.
Objection to relevance.
In the time that you had known Ms. Patterson up until that day of November 21st of 2021, had you yourself ever heard Ms. Patterson refer to the alleged defendant by a different name?
Objection to relevance.
Grounds.
You mean like an alias or something?
A different name. Do you recall if, to your knowledge, was your friend Miss Corey, as you referred to her, do you recall her stating that she was injured during the altercation?
I believe she like hurt her finger or her fingernail or something like that, but I don't think it was relevant to the incident that had happened.
What do you mean by you don't think it was relevant to the incident that happened?
Objection to relevance.
Sustained.
No further questions?
Before I decide whether to do cross at this time, how long do you believe it will be?
0 minutes because I have no cross.
All right, thank you. Then you can step down, and we're going to take a break. Give me a second. I'll rise for the jury. Let me excuse the jury for a second. All right, thank you. You may be seated. You may step down, sir. And I presume he may be released from his subpoena, Mr. Brooks. You're done questioning him?
Yeah, I don't think he's no longer needed.
All right, you are released from your subpoena, sir. Thank you. All right, let's take about a 15-minute break. Anything we need to address prior to that, or can we go when we come back?
Nope, thank you.
All right, Mr. Brooks, work with the state, please, for the next witness. We are back on the record. It's 3:58. Appearances are as they were before. Jury is coming into the courtroom.
Subject matter jurisdiction.
Go ahead, sir. You may call your next witness.
Defense calls Heather R. Reamer. Good afternoon, Ms. Reamer. How are you feeling today? I want to direct your attention to the evening of November 21st of 2021. Do you recall what you were doing that evening? And do you recall who you were with at the parade? About what time, if you recall, did you and your family arrive? Do you recall where you and your family were positioned along the parade route that evening? What do you recall weather-wise that evening? Was it a pretty chilly evening? Pretty windy?
Yes.
So I'm assuming at some point you observed a bit of commotion. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
And do you recall what that commotion was?
Everyone running around was the biggest commotion.
At that point, did the area you were positioned in get pretty loud, chaotic? Before, do you remember what you and your family were doing directly prior to the parade that evening? At the point you observed this commotion, what did you do from that point?
Started running.
I'm assuming with you and your family all took the same course of action?
We all ran, yes.
And where did you run to?
Away from the parade route.
Would that be side street connected to the main parade route? Or do you recall if that side street was barricaded in any way? Do you recall if there were any law enforcement officers stationed at that side street? Did you at any time during the commotion when you and your family were at the parade, do you recall seeing anything that drew your attention in any way? Do you recall what that was that you saw?
A red Ford SUV driving faster than all the other cars in the parade.
And what did you observe this vehicle doing at the time that it caught your attention?
I heard honking. I'm not positive if it was the red SUV or another car.
You notice any other vehicles around the vehicle you saw, following the vehicle you saw? And it was passing the other vehicle you're referring
Yes.
to, correct? Stated reference to honking. In your opinion, strictly your opinion, Why would a vehicle honk its horn? Do you recall? I'm assuming at some point the vehicle passed the position where you were. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
At any time during the vehicle's passing you, did you see who was driving the vehicle? Did you notice if they were intense to the vehicle as far as windows? Do you recall if you were able to see into the vehicle? Do you recall if you got a chance to catch the license plate number of the vehicle? From your recollection, when the vehicle passed you, were the windows up or down? Did you at some time report what you saw to law enforcement? Did you at any time report what you had saw that evening to law enforcement?
Yes.
Do you recall what agency that law enforcement officer was from?
I'm going to assume Waukesha.
During the course of reporting what you saw, was it more of a recorded interview, or were they writing down what you were telling them?
I was on the phone, so I don't know what they were doing.
Do you recall if that was the days following the incident or a little longer after that? Upon arriving at the parade that evening with your family, did you notice any of the side streets barricaded in any way? Any of them?
Yes.
Do you recall if there were law enforcement officers at those barricaded side streets? Do you recall about how long the parade had been ongoing before you saw this vehicle? From that point, did you and your family immediately leave the parade and head home, or did you or any of your family members suffer any injuries during this incident?
No.
At any time after the incident, do you recall seeing any news reports related to this incident?
Yes.
Did you keep up with those reports, or was it just that evening or the days?
Just a couple days within whatever was right immediately. I'm not a person to watch the news.
And after that initial phone conversation with law enforcement, did any more law enforcement officers follow up with you about the report?
No.
Did you yourself follow up with law enforcement after that
No.
initial report? Did you yourself observe the vehicle that passed you during the parade? Did you yourself witness anyone injured by the vehicle?
I don't believe so.
That's all I have right now.
Thank you. Any cross?
Yes, briefly. Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like you to take a look at the man seated to my right, Mr. Brooks. You ever seen that man before?
Objection, to being called that name.
Tell us about when you've seen Mr. Brooks before.
Objection, leading.
As we were driving to the parade, we were coming to a stoplight and we saw the red SUV coming down the wrong way on the road. And
Your Honor, I'd ask that we display for everybody exhibit number 7. It's previously been received and published.
Objection to relevancy.
Overruled.
Is it relevant to this particular witness?
Yes, it is.
Mr. Reamer, can you see the map depicted on the screen in front of you? And is this the gas station that we're talking about? And you were parked on North Street facing southwestbound at the time, is that right?
Objection, speculation.
Well, let's assume, based on these arrows here, that,
Objection, speculation.
Overruled.
and you saw the red SUV that we've been talking about come the wrong way on North Street, is that right?
Correct.
And what happened after that?
Should I draw?
So I stopped roughly back here.
Can we please, let's get a screen grab of this, please.
Objection to relevancy.
Overruled.
You saw Darrell Brooks driving that red SUV in front of that gas station, is that correct?
Objection.
At that time, I didn't know.
Called that name, and it's speculative.
Overruled.
At that time, I didn't know his name, but yes.
Now that you see him sitting in court today,
Yes.
that's the guy.
Yes.
Objection, speculative.
Overruled.
Thank you. May we please display for everybody exhibit number 15, which has also previously been received and published. We zoom in, please, on the intersection of Main Street and Northeast Avenue.
Objection, relevancy.
You were sitting in front of the Historical Society, you testified?
Yes.
And do you recognize this map in front of you?
Objection, speculative.
No, I don't.
When you saw the red SUV drive by, you testified you could not see the driver, correct?
Correct.
Because it was going so fast?
Yes.
Did you ever see that SUV come to a stop at any point on Main Street?
No.
In fact, did you see it accelerate as it traveled towards more people?
Yes.
Objection, speculative.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
Sound like you was going to say substantial.
And then I remembered you had called the witness, not the state.
That's all I have.
Redirect, sir.
Yes.
Do you want any of the exhibits up?
I forgot what the one was before this.
7.
7 was the map with, the gas station. This is 15. I'm going to turn it off until you tell me you need something.
I need
Exhibit 7. When shown this exhibit on cross, you stated you were approximately around. As a matter of fact, that wouldn't be fair. Can you erase that that mark, please?
It's clear.
Were you show again where your vehicle was positioned and where we?
That's when I initially slowed down. To stop.
Okay. And you stated there was another car that did a backing up motion. Can you show again where that vehicle was positioned? If you recall, or do you recall, if there were any vehicles in this space right here?
There was none.
Rough estimate, about how far would you estimate the distance is between your vehicle and the vehicle that was at the light? Rough estimate.
I never came to a complete stop back there.
So you were still kind of rolling forward a little bit? So you didn't come to a stop until you noticed that vehicle backing up?
No, I didn't come to a complete stop until we were back up at the light.
So where did you end up? I'm sorry, can you erase the white circle? The white circle.
Only, I think it's just all or nothing.
All. I'm sorry. So let's start this again. Where did you finally come to a complete stop, if you recall? And at that time, well, back up a little bit before I get to that. You observed an SUV, you say, at some point before you came to a complete stop? What did you see that vehicle do? What did you see it do after you noticed that it was coming in that direction? Would that be into the gas station? And what did you see the vehicle do at that point?
Roll down their window and yell something at the car in front of me.
Did it stop? Was it, I'm assuming you might know what I mean by this, was it like a brake stop or was it a park stop? If you recall.
If you're not in the vehicle, how do you know that they put it in park?
Brake stop with brake lights, but okay.
Objection, move to strike.
Grant that, strike the last statement made by the defendant.
How long were you at the light? And in that short time, you were able to see who was driving the vehicle, the SUV, as you say, that went into the gas station?
Yes.
Is that the same SUV you saw at the parade that evening?
Yes.
Same vehicle that you said you don't recall if it was tinted or not? So at the point of seeing this vehicle at the gas station, at that point, did you notice any tints? Did you notice if there was anyone else in the vehicle at that time?
I only saw one person.
Could you see into the back of the vehicle? Can you see the passenger seat of the vehicle?
Yes.
Was anybody in the passenger seat?
No.
But you don't know for sure about the back seat. Can we take down this, pull up exhibit 15, pull that back up?
The state would please pull that up.
And you stated that you were in front of the Historical Society. And if I recall, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that would be somewhere around this area here. So the side streets, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to tap the screen. Can you erase that? I'm sorry. The side streets would be Buckley Street and Northeast Avenue. Would that be fair to say by looking at the map?
Yes, that's what the map shows.
And you said you don't recall if those side streets were barricaded.
I wasn't at the intersection.
So would it be fair to say you were close to the side street? So you stated you ran away from the commotion. So it would be fair to say at some point you moved from your position in front of the Historical Society, correct?
Correct.
Do you recall what side street you went down to when you were running? We can, just really quick. So that would be this side street here. You stated that you knew the identification of the driver of this SUV based on what you observed at the gas station, correct?
Can you repeat that?
You stated that let me back up. You were able to identify the driver of this SUV based on what you observed at the gas station, correct? Do you recall what the driver was wearing when you observed him at the gas station? Do you yourself recall in your telephone conversation with law enforcement stating that the driver was wearing a red-orange shirt?
That was not from the gas station.
So where would that description come from, if not the gas station?
I saw video footage of you in somebody's backyard.
So what did you observe the driver wearing at the gas station? So it'd be fair to say that in your phone conversation with law enforcement, you gave a description based on what you had seen from footage. I guess that would be the right word to use.
The shirt color.
And do you recall in that phone interview stating that you weren't positive on the shirt color? Do you recall in that phone interview stating that since seeing the news that you may be getting the clothing description incorrect?
I remember saying that I've seen the news. I don't remember saying that that is why I'm getting it.
So would it be fair to say that
Your description came from watching footage at some point and from news reports at some point.
Not news reports.
But you did see this incident reported on the news. Did you see where the vehicle? Did you see where the vehicle went when it passed your position?
Objection. Can we just clarify whether that's at the gas station or the parade?
Fair enough. Sustained.
Sorry for that. I'll clarify. Do you recall seeing where the vehicle went when it passed your position at the parade that evening? And you already stated that during the parade, seeing the vehicle and not seeing the driver, how are you sure that that driver of the vehicle you saw at the gas station was the same vehicle at the parade? Were you yourself sure that they were the same vehicle?
They were the same model, same color, same make.
So what is the make and model, if you recall, of the vehicle that you saw at the gas station?
Ford Escape.
And how did you come to that determination based on your observation at the gas station?
Because I know a decent amount of cars.
What do you mean by decent? So are you yourself able to just look at a vehicle and tell the make and model?
Some, yes.
So it'd be fair to say some, not all. So that brings me back to the driver. You stated you didn't see the driver of the vehicle you saw at the parade. How do you know there was the same driver?
Objection. The state's the evidence. She never testified that she knows it's the same driver.
Sustained.
I'm asking how did you...
Rephrase your question.
Do you know if it was the same driver?
No.
No further questions?
Mr. Brooks, I think you wanted to make a more full record.
No, but we would like some further direction from the defendant as to who he wants here tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon, if he wants us just to continue that list that he originally provided, or if there's an update.
But anything from you, sir?
No, I'm just gonna say with that, I'm not gonna put them in specific order.
Not looking for the order, but we're behind given the timetable and the understanding between, as I understand it, between you and the state.
They have the list.
So generally speaking, you've been taking about a half an hour, I would say, for each witness. I think we could get through at least 3 to 4 tomorrow morning, 3 to 4 in the afternoon. Have the parties be available for that and be ready for that.
All the parties? At this point, there's no telling what witnesses will be here tomorrow, right?
That's 4 witnesses. Whatever order of those 4.
5, but yes,
It's 5.
we'll have them here based on your original list.
And then how many does that leave? Because
That's what I'm trying to
doing
figure out.
good with math this
4.
late in the day. 4, so 4 in the afternoon then. So our hope is to get through all your witnesses.
I can say this: one witness I intend to call tomorrow is not going to be 35 minutes.
Fair enough. Do you plan to call that person in the morning or the afternoon?
I'm leaning towards the afternoon. That could change depending on the flow of the morning, I would guess. The morning goes pretty...
Can you tell me which list they were on when you gave it to the state? Was it Thursday afternoon, Friday morning, or Friday afternoon?
I didn't put them on days, but I believe they were in the maybe the second flow of names.
Do you just want to tell me who it is so we can prepare so that person is told to come in the afternoon rather than wait through the morning?
I don't want to say who it is.
Well, I want the person to be here when we're ready to go, but...
They were here today, if that helps.
Yeah, I know who it is. It's Erica Patterson, Your Honor. There's no mystery here.
Maybe
All right,
it is,
that's
maybe
what I
it isn't.
would have, kind of who I thought it would be as well.
So,
I'm going to have her come tomorrow afternoon then. I'm
okay,
not
we
gonna
will
her
have
come
you
in the
here at
morning.
1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon.
So we
Thank
need to be
you.
mindful of people's schedules.
Thank you. We'll have everyone else here at
That's
8:30.
interesting because what if that was not who I was referring to?
And you need to tell me right now so I can make an alteration to that.
Come on, Judge.
Sir, we're at the end of the 3rd week.
So
I
can we
need
at
to
least
keep
be
this
fair?
moving
Can we
along.
at least be fair and say that's not due to me, though?
That would not be fair to say.
How?
It's
How? The state said that they needed 5 to 7 business days to present their case. Did they or did they not say that on the record?
and there's
So how
it doesn't
did
matter how we got there at this point. I'm trying
Then they
my
need to chop,
darndest
chop.
to get all the
Should've been
witnesses
chop, chop.
done. I'm directing the state to have Miss Patterson come tomorrow afternoon.
If that's
And the
what I was
other
referring to,
witnesses?
which I wasn't, but everybody think they know what I'm thinking.
Then you need to tell them if it's someone else, and if you want her here in the morning.
I'll
then
say
that-
this. Everybody that was here today that didn't get called, I have them here tomorrow. So that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people.
And you need to tell me who you want in the morning, not by the order and who you want for the afternoon. Otherwise, I'm going to make the order that I just made.
No, how you gonna make the order for me?
Under 906.11, sir.
No, you can't. I can call. I have the right to call them in the order that the state didn't have to have an order, and I'm guessing.
No, but the
correct me
state's
if I'm wrong, but
helping you out in terms of the order.
They were helping me out with serving
And
the
they're helping
subpoenas.
you,
Not
so-
the order of how I would call the witnesses, but the subpoenas. I gave the state.
Do you want to be responsible for calling each person tonight and telling them what time they need to be here? Or should we let the
See,
state
here we
do
go
that?
with this again. There's something that's impossible to do.
That's not true. You have
How's it
access
not
to
true?
a phone.
So somebody's gonna answer a collect call from someone they don't even know. Nobody in this courtroom will answer a collect call, pay for a phone call from
That's
somebody
not my
that you
understanding
not know.
of how it works at the jail. That you can.
Yes.
There's other means to make phone calls.
There is no other way to utilize the phone.
Well, maybe I'm wrong on that, but be that as it may, the state is helping you out. This is to make tomorrow go as smoothly as possible.
Your Honor, with all respect, I did what was asked of me to do. I provided them with the list of the witnesses that I will call. And I stated before that I would not put them in order, and the state accepted the list that I gave them. So why, at this point, is
Who are
everything
the witnesses who are here
being
today?
a problem?
Douglas Kohler, Detective Guth, Erica Patterson, Christopher Bertram, and Jason Hayes were here today, in addition to Miss Reimer. Miss Reimer's now done. Nicholas Kirby was also here today. He's done. If we are going to continue to assist Mr. Brooks in getting these witnesses here, we need to have a reasonable time schedule. These witnesses don't just show up by the tooth fairy. We have to communicate with them. They have jobs, they have family. I've explained this 3 times to Mr. Brooks. If he wants our assistance,
Objection. She can chill with all that. She can chill with all that
to-
tone.
hold on,
Because
hold on.
we
I know
can get
we-
on that if that's what it is.
Hey, I
We
know
can
it's been a
definitely
long
get on
day.
that.
Let's keep this civil.
That's what I'm trying to do, but
So
she gonna have to tone it down.
I'm
I don't
Kohler,
know who they be
Guth,
tonight.
Hayes, Patterson. I missed a fifth.
so I will just continue to work in the order of the list that was provided. Your Honor, I think that's the only reasonable thing we can do at this point. Or we can do it alphabetical, or we can do it by random lot, because I don't know really what else to do.
By the list that was given.
If I have to go late tomorrow, then I would say the last person can be at 4:30, if need be.
Yeah, I agree. We would very much like to get through the defense witnesses tomorrow, Your Honor.
I don't know if that's gonna happen.
Well, that's the order that I'm making in terms of the times people need to show up. That gives you a range of people to select from.
I'm gonna have to see that what you're referring to then, because
Oh, I trust you wrote it down because that's what I did.
I
So
didn't. I
we
didn't
are at
write it down.
recess then for the evening. We'll see everyone tomorrow at 8:30
all right.
a.m.
So if they don't get